and I'm starting to do what in the end game part of Fantasy Star, which is called Nemesis weapon farming. Do you know any about that? So when you reach
No.
level, okay. So when you reach
But you know
level
what? You can actually save
70.
that for a second because we are live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Usually, and I do this to Chris all the time when we're on here, is I will wait for like a random point in the conversation when he's already talking, and I'll unmute us in the middle of it just to catch him off guard.
Yeah, I'm a little off guard there. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if we were already live or not, but
Yeah, so welcome to the Vomitorium, everybody. I am your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Chris, and we have another guy. You want to introduce yourself?
yeah, my name's Christian. That's what I go by in nearly every Discord I'm in. I've kind of given up screen names for the most part, but a lot of times I'll be Kratos or Kratos or a lot of different variations of such. But I'm mostly just called Christian.
Yeah, so we got two Chris's today.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm Chris. He's Christian.
He's Chris.
That's usually how we do it.
Mostly because I can't stand that nickname, so he's adopted it.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, I've had it since I was little, so I just it's easier that way.
Yeah.
But so
We were talking about
Hey.
Fantasy Star.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were just briefly. We were talking about it, but do you want me just to pick up where I was going with that?
Yeah, you can pick. Well, rewind a little bit to
Sure.
add some context for people
So-
listening.
Yeah. So I'm currently playing. We were talking about Fantasy Star Online. The most recent game. It's actually been out for quite a while in Japan.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think it
8
came out,
years old now or something like that. It's like
but
2014.
it's new to America, which is interesting. But right now I'm at the point in the game where I've reached level cap on my main class, so I'm doing what's known as Nemesis weapon farming. And essentially what that is when you reach level cap, there's certain levels and difficulties of quests, and the hardest difficulty is Ultimate Quest, and it's a picture essentially like the hardest difficulty of Diablo, if you've played any of the Diablo games, where it's a big old like mess of mobs and players killing a bunch of mobs, and then if you kill enough of the mobs, then these bigger ads will spawn, the bigger bosses. And then the goal is, of course, to kill enough of them so that way they'll spawn, and if you're lucky enough, you'll get a Nemesis weapon, which is essentially the best weapon in the game for any class. And it's primarily because it's the highest stats and it has like really great affixes on it and all that good stuff. And I was lucky enough, most recently I got 2 Nemesis weapons, not for my class, of course, because I wouldn't be that lucky. But I did get Nemesis weapons
Never
for
lucky.
some weapons that other classes that I sold on my shop, which I got about 9 to 10 million Meseta for. So I got a good chunk of cash now, which is nice.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was doing it, I probably would have gotten 2 weapons for my class. I have like ridiculously good RPG or RNG for like no reason.
Hey, that's a good thing. Yeah, and then there's never lucky Chris, of course.
Yeah. I never get anything I want ever.
Yeah.
Like I'm the type of guy that'll have 1% crit chance and then crit 3 times in a row.
Oh, so you're like the early Gangplank players.
Oh
of
yeah,
Legends,
I actually used
who
to
would
do
run
that all
full
the
crit
time.
runes.
Start.
Oh my lord. You have no idea how much I have cursed people like you.
Oh, even worse, I used to run crit Teemo.
Oh my god. What? Why? Like, just why?
It's kind of just like a fuck you, that's why type thing. It's like, whoever's in lane against me, I'm gonna get first blood, because I'm gonna be critting and poisoning you at the same time, and I'm just gonna have fun with myself.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that the other person's suffering brings you joy.
Yes, yeah. That's why I'm a Teemo main, so. Yeah.
That he is.
But what I was gonna say though, at least for the Fantasy Star part, was once you get, of course, get the Nemesis weapons. At that point, you're just kind of like trying to get your your best gear and things like that, and that's essentially the gameplay loop at end game right now because there's really not a whole lot of stuff. Of course, there's the urgent quests, which are pretty neat. I like the concept behind them.
Oh,
You
I
have
love
those.
urgent quests. Anytime they're up, that's all I do.
They're just so much experience, and you get quite a few good rewards for it. It's just a great time, and um, I'm enjoying it for now. I'm not sure how much longer I'll keep with it. I'll probably try leveling up Hunter next because it's my subclass and it's 55. So I'll probably try to switch around and do some of that. But um, that's primarily what I'm doing with Fantasy Star. So I would recommend for anyone that is interested in a decent online experience to give it a try. It's a bit of a problem to download for some people. I've heard it's been patched and hopefully works a little bit better, but in my opinion, it's worth the extra effort if you have to.
Oh yeah, I actually had a friend who was having he's in the chat right now, having trouble downloading it, and it's because it's a Windows Store app, which makes it really stupid. If your computer isn't 100% up to date, Windows would be like, "Sorry, your computer can't run this program," so you have to go and force an update, or sometimes the update's just sitting there waiting. But and once it's completely up to date, then it'll start letting you download it.
Yeah, there's a handful of different problems with the running that game, and it's unfortunate because it's such a good game that it had such a bad release. But I also heard that it was just as bad on the Japanese servers, so it's
Yeah.
not like it's really that bad.
Yeah, we've recommended it. Well, I've personally recommended it a couple times. Chris here, though, is having trouble getting into it because he likes the exploration of the open world games. And
Yeah.
because that's just a dungeon runner instance based game, he kind of loses him.
Yeah, it's just not. I like Fantasy Star, like the older ones and stuff. I I don't know. I can't do like dungeon runners. I mean, I've compared it before to Dungeoneering, Escape 3, and I hate that skill.
Yeah, part of me
So,
is a little bit more open to it just because I have it reminds me a lot, especially with the gameplay loop of Diablo. But the speed I think is what turns people off because what people love about Diablo is how fast you can run through the dungeons, right? Like when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
max level, you can just tear through dungeons and mobs in no time. And in this game, obviously, you don't have that option.
Yeah, it
So,
almost never really speeds up. Like, you can get,
mhm.
like, the boosters and stuff. You can move faster, but once you hit combat, you slow down again.
Yeah. So
And,
I understand that
yeah.
that viewpoint a lot. I'm kind of
Even
like the
the
opposite.
Vindictus was faster because the combat started moving just as fast as the movement speed of the characters did.
I played Vindictus for just a little bit, so I think I understand that point of view. But like I said, it's for me. I think open world games just to me become too overwhelming,
Yeah.
and that's why it's part of the reason why I disliked Breath of the Wild so much. I know it was a good game, and Legend of Zelda is obviously a great franchise, but I just could not get past the extremely open world, and the combat was such a different take on it. Like I just as much as I've heard great things about Breath of the Wild, I couldn't do it simply because it was an open world game. So
Yeah. Well, I actually used that as a juxtaposition against Fantasy Star when me and Chris were talking about this last time. Because I think the open worldness of Breath of the Wild was probably the best thing it had going for it, but it also quickly became the worst thing it had going for it. Because after you've explored everything, you pretty much get to this point that there's nothing worth exploring, and you still which the quick travel saves a lot of this, but there's no point in the combat because the game doesn't reward you for combat for the most part.
yeah.
If anything, it punishes you for actively engaging in combat when you don't have to,
Hmm.
and it quickly becomes more of a detriment to the game than a positive.
I kind of hope they fix that in the the sequel that they're making.
Yeah,
The
At
sequel for
least
what?
like the
Breath of the
Breath of the
Wild.
Breath of the
Wild?
Wild.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because Like the weapons breaking so fast.
Oh,
is-
it was a huge turnoff.
Oh yeah.
They break so fucking fast.
It
It's like,
reminded me, just real quick, I wanted to bring up. It reminds me a lot of like Fire Emblem, the older games where
Oh,
weapons
yeah.
broke so often that it actually turned you off from using your good weapons.
exactly. That was the thing. Like you didn't want to use your good weapons. You wanted to save it for like boss fights and shit because so you would just be using like the worst stuff you had if you had to.
See, that
And,
never really even got better too, because Awakening it still had that problem.
Yeah, you're talking about like Fire Emblem.
Yeah, Fire Emblem Awakening still had that problem too, and that's one of the more recent
Yeah,
games.
even in the newest one with 3 houses,
Yeah.
like there are ways to sort of go around it. Like you could repair your weapons, which I think that if Breath of the Wild wants to keep the weapons breaking, there needs to be a way to either repair weapons or consistently keep higher end stuff. Like maybe you could. I think it'd be cool if they introduced like some sort of smithing for Link to do, where he
Yeah.
could like actually repair or even upgrade his weapons to last longer.
Yeah,
Yeah, or like make them or something. Like,
because they already have a crafting system in the game with the food and stuff. Honestly
Yeah.
surprised there wasn't some type of alternate weapon crafting system built into the game already.
I think yeah, and then the funniest part to me was always from the beginning when they introduced the Master Sword, and it didn't break, but it had the same sort of mechanic of breaking where after
So you had
enough
to
uses,
recharge,
you
yeah.
couldn't use it, and it was like, what's the point?
Yeah, like a
I know it's
cooldown
supposed to be
system to it.
the blade of blades, but you know, if I have to put away this thing just because I've used it too much, like I don't want to use it now.
Yeah, well, actually, I used it all the time, like for the dumbest things too, because I knew it's just gonna be 10 minutes till I can use it again. So I would like farm with my Master Sword. I would use it to break rocks
makes
and
sense.
chops down trees. It's like, I'm gonna get it 10 minutes. Let me do my mining for today.
I used it for its intended purpose, which was killing the what are they called? Those
The
big
blights?
spider mother. No, the ancient
The robot
machine.
spiders.
Yeah,
I'm not
Oh,
sure.
the
I can't remember
Guardians?
what they're called.
Yeah.
yeah, the guardians.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
I
you
used it
needed
for
them
everything.
to like make the guardian armor and shit.
Yeah.
So that's what I used.
If you use a Master Sword or a Guardian weapon, you can pop their legs like nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just use it for
But-
everything.
The whole like weapon durability in games is kind of like it's kind of weird. Like some games do it right, where it's so much like it takes so much for it to break that you're just like honestly, I think weapon durability in Blizzard games are pretty good.
Oh yeah, and especially because of how cheap and easy it is to repair them. Like they
Exactly.
never felt like it was too big of a hindrance. Like, you know, if you are wiping so much on a dungeon and lose a bunch of durability on your armor, you just walk up to any sort of blacksmith, repair your armor for 200 gold, and then go on your day. Like it wasn't that long of a process. It didn't require a ton of resources, and it felt like you were actually punished for dying, but not to the level of like turning you off from content.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I played Dark Souls 2 because I was really big into Dark Souls 1. And I played Dark Souls 2, and that game has like the fucking Breath of the Wild weapons. Like they break that
Just
a little
break
bit,
in,
and
like,
it
5
really
hits.
sucks.
Yeah, and I get why they do that, right? Same with Breath of the Wild. The whole point is they're trying to find some way of making it feel like this is a survival experience. Because that's kind of like the whole thing with Breath of the Wild at the beginning is like this is a wilderness, you're Link trying to survive. You just think at some point when you get off the plateau and you start opening up to the world, that you get past that bare survival point.
I
And-
think also, the real quick, I wanted to say on that point, this is just me being kind of a little bit more of a cynic, but I also think it's because they just want you to spend more time in the game. Like they know that if they introduce this kind of mechanic, that you'll spend more time trying to find those weapons, and
See-
it sort of artificially extends out.
I think it's
content.
counterproductive because I think it's something that turns more people off than it actually brings them in.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It does.
Mhm.
But that's the thing, is like a lot of games that have that stuff do it, in my opinion, to try to extend the life of the game itself, just for artificial sort of inflation.
I don't know. I don't think that was the intent with Nintendo and Breath of the Wild specifically.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
I definitely I'd like to give Nintendo more credit.
Well, and
but at the
because
same time,
they know a lot
of
about like user-based research and stuff like that.
yeah.
Especially now, you see they're actually fixing games more often because they do actually scroll Twitter and forums and stuff, and they look for like, well, what changes would be good for the game. And with Breath of the Wild, it really does seem like the whole system is just to give you like this constant survival thing. Because statistically speaking, you would think, especially looking at the history of games, that if you were to create like this powerful weapon that never broke, it would incentivize people to go out of their way and spend all the time to get it. If the rest of the system were breaking.
Absolutely, and because I think all of us can agree that we would do that. We would have done that if that was an option.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I went for the Master Sword. Shit. Not. I mean, also it was a Master Sword.
Yeah.
but-
Who doesn't want the Master Sword? To be honest.
Yeah, I was under the impression that it was a weapon I could use forever, but like,
I mean, you technically
technically
can. Yeah.
can. It's just after so many hits, it just becomes worthless.
It becomes flaccid.
It's got to take a nap. Yeah.
It just droops.
I need my beauty sleep. I'll be back. Yeah. Animal Crossing did it pretty well though, because it takes like no material to make a new like shovel or, well, the shovels are actually a pain in the butt because you need wood, but it takes like no material to make like a fishing rod or a bug net or whatever. You just pick up some sticks, bring it to a crafting table, and then you can use it 10 times.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it really
like there
adds
there's
to that
definitely-
wilderness survival feeling early on in the game.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to be said. Like, there's plenty of games that do it right, and I applaud a lot of games that do that specifically, just because like I know they want to make things like the more you spend trying to fix up and repair armor, you sort of build a bond with it emotionally, and it feels better to have something that lasts you longer. And in Breath of the Wild, obviously, it was all about, like you said, scavenging, trying to find pieces of weapons that work, taking other people's weapons after you slayed them. It definitely made sense thematically, but I don't think it really
didn't work.
helped. No.
That was the
They
problem.
could have at least lasted a bit longer, you know.
Yeah,
Or
I think that's the thing is just the amount of time that you have with that weapon that you found, like that really good solid sword you found from that Moblin or something, but then it lasts in your backpack because you realize I can only hit something maybe 25 times and it's gonna break.
Yeah, or if it's one of those really badass looking weapons from the inside of the castle, the like the knight stuff. Like I can use this thing twice because it's rusty and has been sitting in the castle for 100 years.
Like that's the thing though. They should make it like it should be more, you know. Like it should, like I said, it's fine to have durability, I think, but not as weak as they are.
Well, and
like
also
if you find like a guardian weapon, it should not break and as fast as
it doesn't feel like the weapons scale up dramatically, right? So even the starting weapons to the knight and royal guard stuff, the fragility between them are only like a few shots different.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
There should be a lot bigger difference. Like I understand a fucking wooden sword breaking or some shit like that.
Yeah, or a twig should break after like 2 uses.
But it's the same as like you said, like the royal
guard
the
stuff,
royal
which also
shit.
breaks after like 2 uses. It seems to be more fragile than most other weapons in the game.
So it's like, you know, it should be the other way around.
Yeah, which I kind of get the joke for the royal guard stuff because you can only get it from the castle, and it's literally just weapons that have been sitting there for 100 years.
Yeah, it's just not gonna be. They're not gonna last too long.
But then there's other things like the knight weapons aren't the royal guard, right? The knight weapons are supposed to be like newer weapons in the same vein. So you'd think, okay, maybe this should last like 50 to 100 hits.
Nope.
Nope. I give you 10. There you go.
On a good day.
And then you're just like, I'm just gonna throw my bombs at people as much as possible to kill them because these things never run out.
Yeah, I don't have a limited resource with bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it? That's the thing. You have infinite bombs.
You've got a magnet where you can just like pick things up and smack people with them. Why am I going to use any of my weapons when I can just smack somebody to death with a metal crate that I found?
Yeah.
For real though, I've used that so many. Like I used it so much for killing. But God, man, I really hope they do. They fix all that in the second one, because the second one also seems to be going the same route as like Majora's Mask.
Kinda, yeah.
Like a
It gave
darker
me a-
theme.
Yeah, it gave me like a big like Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask feel.
Yeah, though the
Let's just
setup
hope that it's
seemed
I was
kind
gonna say-
of going from Zelda 1 to Zelda 2 almost, except without any gap in time or generations.
yeah.
Zelda who? We don't.
Zelda
what
2.
game are you talking about?
Link's
Oh, no.
Adventure.
Electric Boogaloo.
I don't know what game you're talking about. But
The Adventure of Link.
I just hope
have
if it
two
is
copies
like
of that game.
if it is like the Majora's Mask, it's a bit more widely accepted. Obviously, with it coming off of the coattails of Breath of the Wild, it will be accepted by a lot of people. But if we look back on history, Majora's Mask was actually not a very well liked game at the time.
Are
It
you
became
talking
more
about the
popular.
best Zelda game?
Yeah, exactly. People back then would not have said that. But like now, people can safely say Majora's Mask was their favorite or was the best.
Yeah.
But back then, Majora's Mask was not accepted at all because, you know, it's riding off the coattails of Ocarina of Time, and then it introduces these weird like time mechanics, and it's got like you have to finish this whole game within 3 days. It was a huge jump in mechanically just between the two games that too many people didn't like. Even the creator, if you actually look at the history of it, the guy who made it didn't even like it very much.
Oh, I loved it even.
And that
when
just
I
goes to
first
show
played it.
you, like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Majora's Mask was a fantastic game. It's just a shame that at the time it wasn't recognized as good as it was. And so if the Majora's Mask sort of feel of the game holds up, let's just hope that it doesn't generate the same sort of like displeasure.
Well, what I'm hoping is we get the Banjo-Tooie of Zelda games. And by that, so like from Banjo-Kazooie to Tooie, you pretty much start the game with all the abilities that you had in the last one. Right off the bat. Now, most of those abilities are useless in Banjo-Tooie, which is why you end up getting a whole new slew of them. But you
still have access to them.
Yeah, like at the very beginning in Spiral Mountain, all the boots that you got at the beginning are just kind of around there, so you could see, oh, I could still use these. You just never end up using them throughout the game because different things are required. So what I would like is if you have access to all the runes that you had in the first game and the Master Sword right off the bat, because things are just going to get even more intense after the start. Because this was designed to be DLC originally, and they just had so much DLC that they said they were going to make another game instead.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, it does make sense because, like, in the small trailer that we got, it was Link escorting Zelda, so it should, be
Pretty much like right after.
Right after.
Yeah. Well, that's what upset me because there was no post-game content really, right? There was like the champions ballads and stuff like that, but they still took place technically before fighting Ganon.
Right.
Right, because when you fight Ganon, all it does is you get the end credits, and then it resets you to right before you fought Ganon again. And there's no post-game content. And that's kind of a staple of Zelda. There's really no game with post-game content. But you figure with an open-world experience that they're trying to give you, this would have been the first Zelda to have post-game content.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's funny enough. You talk about a game that should have post-game. There's actually, I've actually played a game that, basically, like, I would say more than 50% of it is post-game, and that's Dragon Quest XI. That game is so good, and it's a long-standing, franchise, but one of my favorite things about it was, even after you sort of finished the main story, there was still stuff to do at the end that actually continued on the story. So it was a very cool approach, and it'd be nice if other games did that too, because we spend all this time building up our characters, making them stronger, and then when you finish, you have nothing else left to do. So like that's the end of the game.
Yeah.
But you want to do enough with what you've got. You want to use the things that you've worked hard for.
Yeah, that's why I always like the advanced or the remake versions of the Final Fantasy games compared to the originals. Like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy IV, for example, you can go to the moon and there's this whole secondary dungeon, like this trials thing for every individual character. The Tower of Ordeals or something like that. I forget the name of it. But every character has an additional dungeon and there's a bonus boss at the end. So you actually feel like, oh, you know, I've got something to do with all this shit that I've unlocked throughout the game.
Yeah, and everyone, and like I don't think I've met a single person who plays RPGs that's like tells me, yeah, I worked really hard to get all this stuff, and I'm okay with ending it here. Like
At the final
everyone
boss,
wants
done.
yeah, like that's it. Like you built up your strength to just beat the final boss. Like okay, now what? Is it really over? Like I want to do something else. So yeah, I absolutely am okay with all of these RPGs, long-standing sort of adventure games that have post game because it makes sense with how much we've worked and tried to make them stronger.
Yeah.
You know, a game originally did that, but then ended up adding DLC. But I didn't have the DLC, so I got fucked.
What's that?
Fallout 3 did that, where
Yeah.
it just ended. It just
Yeah.
fucking ended. It just ended the game, and I was like, "What?" Because you know I had played fucking Oblivion before that, and Morrowind. I didn't beat Morrowind, but Oblivion, you beat the game, you can still play because that's just how those games are.
Yeah.
And you know it was the same company, so I was like, okay, I'll beat the game and then I'll do other stuff. Nope. It's over. I was so fucking mad. I was so upset. You have no idea. And I was like high school. I didn't have money to get fucking DLC and all that. And I also didn't even know until way later. But it should not have done it like that. Like, there's some games where, yeah, it should end. And that's it. But in a game like that, it should not.
Or if you want it to just end, a good way to work around that so you still feel like the stuff that you got was viable is a New Game Plus, where you can carry all your stuff over, like Chrono Trigger. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the earlier
Yeah,
games
like-
to do that.
God of War did that too, which I was really happy with. I think every God of War allowed you to do New Game Plus, but with the newest one, all I wanted to do was keep playing that game because how much I loved it.
Because the newest one was actually an RPG with equipment and stuff, other than just getting, like,
yeah.
costumes that might give you some type of boost or detriment.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge incentive to do a New Game Plus for God of War, but that was another one of those games where it was like Breath of the Wild, where the guy who was creating it wanted to do a massive DLC, but it got so big they just said, okay, let's just make this God of War 2.
Yeah.
And that's what they've been doing.
Because I know
is
it's supposed to be like 5 games at this point for this new series, but I don't know
yeah,
if
it's
they're
gonna
ever
be
going
a
to finish it.
long-standing one for sure. I cannot say how much I love that game. That's why during like the PS5 announcement stuff going on, I was just waiting to see something about God of War 2, but they didn't drop it yet. But hopefully we'll see something in the next year.
But hey, we got a bunch of no-name games. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
a few on that list that I genuinely thought looked really interesting.
Yeah, there were a few. We actually talked about it last time, but
Yeah. Most of it was me shit talking about how uninteresting that list was.
I think the biggest thing on there for me was the Demon Souls remake.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was fun. Where Sackboy's Big Adventure actually might be interested in. Just because I like platformers and adventure games.
Sure. Yeah, I know a lot of people were hyped though for the reveal for what was that game they showed at the very end with the girl that rides on the robot ram?
Oh, is that the sequel to Horizon?
Yes, Horizon
Yeah.
Zero Dawn.
Oh, I
There was
hated
that was
Horizon Zero Dawn.
I understand, but like that was a very popular game that people liked, so that was a pretty big note to end it on was the sequel for that because I think it'll be really interesting.
Wasn't the first one was kind of like released with PS4, wasn't it?
It
Mhm.
was, and then they added DLC for it, so like it actually continued on with the story for it.
That was like the title game, kind of.
Um, but my most interesting game was actually an indie developed game. It was the game called I think it's Kina is how you pronounce it.
Oh, the
And the
Pikmin
Bridge
like game.
Spirit. What's it?
The
Yeah, it
Pikmin
looked like
game, yeah.
it looked really cute, and I thought it was an interesting looking game. It looked fun. It was very gorgeous. I think probably one of the prettiest games in the lineup. Like the locales and the colors and everything was just looked great, and I'll definitely keep my eyes out for it for sure. And then there's one game done by can't remember the name of the studio. It was they're releasing a game called Godfall, which is essentially a
Gearbox,
looter hack and
yeah,
slash.
It was just mentioned in the chat
Yeah,
by
it
our
was actually.
server moderator Buck here, and he's like, Godfall would have promise from what they showed if it wasn't for the fact that it's being made by Gearbox. We're kind of
Yeah,
cynical when it comes to Gearbox.
I understand. Like I don't have a lot of high hopes for like Gearbox in general, but the reason why I'm still hopeful is because Gearbox is not creating the game. They're just they're producing it. So they're just basically funding it. The people actually doing it are an indie development company that did a sort of card-based strategy game called Duelist that wasn't it was pretty fun and not but it wasn't very popular and the servers actually had to be shut down. But Gearbox is just producing it. They're not actually
Which is
making it,
weird
why
because that's like what, 3 derivations away from the actual money flow. Because Gearbox is a subsidiary of 2K, which is a subsidiary of Take-Two Interactive.
right.
So ultimately, you'd think, well, Take-Two is actually what's funding this, but they're funding it through 2K through Gearbox.
Through Gearbox, precisely. Yeah, like I said, I'll keep my eyes out for it. Hopefully they clean up. The biggest problem for me is in all the trailers I've seen, the frame rate looks awful. And I don't know if that's because of the video itself or the.
It's probably because
game
it's going to
is
be
still
on
in development.
PlayStation.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be released on PC too. So hopefully the
Yeah.
frame rate on PC would at least be acceptable. But
It's
you know,
probably the
in
only
those
place
types
I'd
of
try
games,
it.
frame rate to me is everything. If it's choppy or if it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
has problems, if it goes down, if it dips below 30, that's unacceptable in my opinion.
Oh,
Well, that's
yeah,
why I've been
it's-
laughing at consoles for so long now, outside of, like, maybe Nintendo, because they're not trying to push for that. Nintendo would rather make a less high-definition console that plays the games at a good rate than the other way around. And you have Xbox and Sony, or, like, Microsoft and Sony are just like, hey, look, we can do 4K now if you feel like playing the game at 15 frames per second. It's like, no,
Yeah,
thank you.
the competition for graphics has always, of course, been in the side of PC, but I will say the one thing I can't stand about Nintendo is even on their not very like strong consoles or systems, it still chugs for like something as simple as Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah.
When you were in the cathedral, it used to drop down to like 20 frames per second sometimes, and I thought that was kind of gross.
Yeah, and it
especially with
seems to be
how
just a problem
graphic
with the
was.
Switch, because the Switch is
Right.
trying to be more like the other consoles. Because
Mhm.
even on the Wii U, I didn't really have any frame rate problems, because all the games were being optimized strictly for the Wii U.
Yeah.
And you don't have that problem even on like the 3DS. As simple as that system is like everything runs fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The handheld I've always believed from the beginning, even before the Switch came out, that Nintendo should have just stuck with handhelds
Oh, yeah.
forever. And the Switch, of course, was their perfect answer to that. But
Hmm.
the problem is, in my opinion, with the Switch is the games, while they are all good, it's like you said, they're trying to match the fidelity of the other systems, and it just can't.
Yeah, because it's effectively just an NVIDIA GeForce wrapped into a different package.
Right. And so, like, you have these games that try to run better, and, like, Three Houses, for instance. Fantastic game, by the way. I really like Three Houses, don't get me wrong. But the graphics on it is definitely, especially, like, the backgrounds looked kind of funky, and the frame rate on it dipped really hard in the cathedral sections. And if they had just focused more on less on fidelity and more on just improving the game, I think it would have done better.
Yeah. I don't know. That's my problem with all this stuff.
I do have to say the specs on the new systems are actually pretty decent. Like
Yeah,
when
they
it comes
are.
to time compared to the other ones, where like they showed the specs and I was like, okay, that was like a good computer like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Which is
But-
what a console is trying to accomplish. Is it's supposed to be the gamer's way to a less expensive PC. So when you're dealing with a PC that's 3 or 4 years old, and if it's less expensive, then by all means, I think that's a great deal. Is that it's more the whole point of console gaming was accessibility.
Well, that was
It's
the
just-
point, but now they're getting even more expensive. And at that point, you
and
might as well
they're
just
trying
get
to
like an
match-
average line PC.
Yeah, that's the catch-22 is you're going to want people that want it to be PC level, and it's just never going to be that point.
But that's what I'm saying though, is that it's getting closer to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the specs are actually pretty fucking decent considering what they are.
Well, I think
Now,
Microsoft
whether
used to
they're
have
optimizing them as well as they should be, that's
well, I was to say, I think Microsoft used to have the better idea, and I think they should go back to this. And they should intentionally be keeping it lower than PC. Right? Sure, you can have like a higher end model that people have to pay extra for, kind of like you would be with a PC, but their starting thing, the base Xbox should be intentionally lower than PC because it's supposed to be the kind of like non-elitist way into it. And all pretty much every single Microsoft game is available on Windows 10 now anyway, and you can cross-play with them. So they shouldn't have to try to compete with the PC market because they are still also the PC market.
Yeah, they're basically just trying to double dip at this point. I
Yeah.
mean, let's be real. Like that's their goal. Is they're trying to, essentially dip get money from both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the new consoles, I guess it just all to me it's just based on price. If it's gonna cost me anything more than around $500 for a PS4, I probably won't get it.
Yeah, the projected prices right now for the 5 are between $499.99, so $500, and $549.99, so $550.
Which is fine. I think that's an acceptable range. If it's anything more than $550, it's a hard pass. But because I just don't think it's worth sinking that much in a relatively lower grade PC with some. They have some.
Well, you
good
could
games
just
on it.
spend slightly more for a better PC.
Right, or like upgrade mine because
Yeah.
mine can probably use some upgrades, but still like
Just
that
get a
much
new
money.
graphics card.
Obviously, yeah, because like at the end of the day, you get a console. If you have both, you only get the consoles for the games you can't play on your PC.
Yeah,
That's
the
just a fact.
exclusives.
And if there's nothing on a PS5 that interests you that you can get on your PC, then don't bother.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's why I'm not interested, is because I looked at that list and like, eh.
yeah, there's nothing on there that really tugs at people's interests. I'm
Yeah,
sure there's
the one-
plenty of people that want it, but there's like maybe 1 or 2 games.
The one thing that is probably going to be on PC, so it's like
Yeah, why bother?
And that's why, like, despite Nintendo's problems, Nintendo pretty much always sells itself because the vast majority of their library is going to be like console exclusives,
yeah. I mean,
and most of them
I-
are at least going to be fun, even if they're chugging.
Shit, I only bought a 3DS to get the Metroid.
Yeah.
I mean, if Prime 4 came out ever, then
That'd be
I
a
would
Switch
get a
right there.
Switch. I'd somehow get a Switch. I would pull it out of my ass somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, and Nintendo always has console sellers.
Go
As
wrong
much
for
as
one.
I hate the new Pokemon sell systems, Mario Kart, Mario Party, Super Smash Brothers, you've got all these games that always move systems, and a lot of these other
even
ones.
Animal Crossing because
Yeah.
of quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would have even without the quarantine, but it did happen
Oh,
launch
no,
at
no.
like the perfect time.
No, I mean, yeah, it would have sold anyway. It would have made them a lot of money anyway. But not to the point where it is now, where the Switch is literally sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you cannot get a Switch right now.
Yeah, you're looking at sort of Wii levels of demand back in the day. Like I remember when the Wii first launched, dude, you could not find one in any retail store forever.
Though the Switch has kind of been having that problem quite before that. The Switch is constantly in waves of mass demand where they can't fulfill it, and part of that's a manufacturing issue.
I also think it's, and because it's just been a continual thing for Nintendo, I feel like at this point they just can't meet the demand. Like
Yeah.
I don't think they're physically able to, and they may also try to hinder themselves a little bit to continue that demand, so it's always generating them revenue every time they launch more.
Yeah, I don't think they were prepared with how bad the Wii U did by comparison.
No, they were
Oh,
not. The
no.
Wii U was a flop by all means.
Yeah, great system, horrible marketing.
Yeah, and it was a fun system. I think one of my friends said it perfectly. He said they really missed out on a perfect opportunity for the Wii U in doing some sort of like entry level D&D style game. Because
Yeah.
you had the perfect setup.
Where the
You
dungeon
had
master could have
all
the
of your
tablet.
players. Exactly.
Yeah.
You could use the tablet to control everything in the game, and you have all the players on the big main screen. And the dungeon master could set up all of these scenarios and impact the game in his own way. He's like, that would have been a perfect opportunity to implement some sort of entry level D&D style game for the Wii U.
Oh, especially if you did it in house, you could use like Fire Emblem as the base for the system.
Yeah, or anything like any Nintendo sort of franchise. They could have done a Mario based D&D if they wanted, because they have Super
Yeah.
Mario RPG. Like they have ways of doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a missed opportunity. I think that was just the overall.
Well, the biggest
theme of
missed
the Wii U,
opportunity,
like-
as mentioned in the chat, is they could have done a new Pokemon Snap where the tablet was the actual camera.
Yeah, and
They
that's
did
what they're
just
finally
announce
doing
the
with.
new-
Yeah, they're finally doing with the Switch.
Yeah.
I forgot actually.
Yeah.
I saw it way earlier, and like before I went
Dude,
to
I
sleep.
love Pokemon Snap.
I see. I might like it more now, but when I was younger, I got that game and I traded it for like a fucking giant toy tank. Because I
love
was
Pokemon
like,
Snap.
Yeah.
I'm just taking pictures.
Yeah.
Just taking pictures. But I mean, I've changed a lot. Not like I didn't play Kingdom Hearts because I was edgy as fuck. So
Yeah, well, because Pokemon Snap was effectively just an arcade-style rail shooter, except instead of killing things, you're taking pictures of them. And there was also a slight like puzzle or mystery to it, because to unlock the next area, not only did you have to have so many unique Pokemon taking pictures, but you also had to figure out how to unlock the next area by
see, that was like the
causing an
thing,
explosion or something like that.
I had no idea how to play the game. Like I had no clue, and I was just like, "Oh, okay."
But that's a game.
Yeah, it's one of those games. It's one of those games that you can have fun as a kid for a little while, but like as an adult or like as someone who understands a bit more about games, they find all of their hidden nooks and crannies. You can enjoy a lot more as an adult.
Well, I think that's also why like having brothers really helped, because I'm the
yeah.
oldest of three.
Absolutely.
So me and my two brothers would sit down, and between the three of us, we'd all be playing this game, trying to figure out what's going on, and be like, "Hey, look over there," and stuff like that. And, like you get this nice little family experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had two older brothers. So I had the opposite experience. So I had two older brothers, and they were always the ones that were helping me with finding stuff in game, and that was always it was always fun when all three of us got to play a game that we all enjoyed and were able to pass around the controller. Or if we could all play at once, it was.
Yeah.
That's always been the reason why Nintendo has done so well, in my opinion, over the years. It's because no other game system has done multiplayer like Nintendo.
Yeah, or even just catering towards the couch experience, right? So even if it's a
Right.
single player game, they try to make the game in such a way that people could watch or even actively participate by backseat gaming or whatever. They want to encourage people to all be in the same room, experiencing the game together like a piece of media.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, so I was gonna say, I think Pokemon Snap though, they're really gonna have to make sure that it doesn't chug, because that's a game that's going to entirely rely on the graphics in the modern generation.
Right, because the all you're doing is looking at Pokemon in a high fidelity situation,
Yeah.
taking pictures, and outside of like the few secrets you may find or interesting little, poses they make, that's it. That's all the
Yeah.
game is gonna be. So it'll
So,
be a fun game for me and my fiance to play together. We'll have fun,
assuming that
but
it runs well.
yeah, or just assuming that they do a better job at creating high quality models, unlike Sword and Shield.
Oh God, Sword and Shield.
I was actually had a pretty long discussion with one of my buddies today who finally admitted, like, we were talking for quite a while, and ever since they announced Sword and Shield, he was the kind of guy that just basically was like, I want to give it a shot. He wasn't a naysayer, but he
Yeah.
wasn't like, a fanboy. And
Yeah.
I tried to tell him, I was like, I think this is going to end up being a lot worse than people are expecting.
Oh
And
yeah, I was actually kind of a naysayer from the beginning. Just there's too much
right.
evidence against it.
There was a ton of evidence, but
Yeah.
over time, I think eventually, and he finally got his hands on it. He said he enjoyed it his first playthrough, but continuing afterwards, he said, I've realized that this game is just not fun. It is
There's like no replayability of that game.
yeah, and a lot of it stems from the fidelity of the system, like how well it looks. It just looks bad
Yeah.
for a Wii game, and then on top of it all, Game Freak's continued excuses of why we couldn't have the full decks.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, there's
here's
just continued excuses for everything.
right, but like my biggest thing has always been their excuse from the beginning was we can't have the full decks because we want great models.
But they just reuse the same models.
Yeah, that's a fair, argument if you actually used new models.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So what was their excuse then? The number one answer is laziness. They were lazy.
Mhm.
They didn't want to spend the time to actually make good quality models. And then they ended up with a game like this where it was essentially half baked, but everyone bought it because it was Pokemon.
Yo, and I
And
hate that
that's
people
what it
try to use the system as the excuse for the graphics, because from the same company, Game Freak, you can go to Little Town Hero, and the models look amazing. Even the
Absolutely.
backgrounds, they actually look like better rendered versions of the exact same trees that you see in the backgrounds of Sword and Shield. And you're like, Game Freak, what the hell?
Yeah, or like I've always watched videos that compared. There's a Chinese mobile game of Pokemon
Yeah.
that has super high quality models and everything we've asked for. They're not even affiliated with Game Freak,
Yeah.
and they made something so much better, so much higher quality that could be enjoyed versus what Game Freak ends up doing. And my friend said it. My friend said it best. He said what sealed the deal for me and Game Freak's laziness was, I guess at one point during the game, they're introduced to like the main legendary Pokemon, like one of the dogs, the Sword and Shield dogs. And when you're first introduced to them, they just run away, right?
Yeah.
Well, they do this in a cutscene that's like similar to an in-game battle, and all it does is it does a 180 on its axis, doesn't even move. The model just literally turns around and then runs away.
Yep.
Like there's no effort put into it whatsoever.
Oh, and that's like the whole
Like-
game, though. Like, you could say that about everything. Like, there's no caves. Every pathway is just a single corridor. There's no, like, branching paths like there were in previous games or anything like that. Actually, what was it? Episode 3 or 4 of the podcast? You remember, Chris. I went on, like, this whole hour-long rant about this game. Whichever one was the episode where we were talking about the infantilization of media. Right.
Yeah.
And I went on a whole, like, hour-long rant on this game and all the faults with it. And the thing that got me the most wasn't even all the other excuses, like the ones about the models and stuff. It's when Junichi Masada himself, the guy in charge of Game Freak, came out and said the real reason that they are designing the games in the directions that they are is to make them accessible to everyone, for accessibility. Right. And then I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, I beat the first Pokemon game when I was 4 years old, because that's when it came out, and I got it on launch. Played through it as a 4-year-old. And I understand that I am brighter than most people. I actually have like a really high IQ, so I would have been more developed. But my younger brother, Matt, who's been on the podcast, he's one of our legacy hosts, but he really hasn't been on it too much since we've rebooted it, is average or slightly above average, right? He's not like super bright and wouldn't have developed too early. The next generation, he would have been what? He's 2 years younger than me, 5 years old or something like that. When Gold and Silver came out,
he's the same age as me. So
when did Gold and Silver come out for you?
I was in first or second grade.
Yeah, so like 5, 6, somewhere around there, right?
Yeah,
maybe almost
something
7.
like that.
So like still, as a first grader, he was able to beat the whole game. Right. I these games have always been accessible to everyone, and that's during the generations where things were considered statistically harder than they are now because of just bad programming and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he had no problem making it through the game. Our youngest brother never had any problem. I never had any problem. And this is already the most popular franchise on the planet, right? Anybody who's going to like Pokemon is going to like Pokemon regardless of how you make this game or not, right? Like, they're either going to like it or not. It's more popular than the entire American music industry put together. Who the hell are you changing the way the game is making to make it more accessible to? That's what I'm trying to know. Like, who?
It goes with this whole stigma that the world is getting less intelligent, which I've explained before. It's not that people are getting less intelligent. We just have more access to stupid people.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
It's with the majority of like same people. Some of the excuse my language, some of the boomers that say the world is more violent these days. It's not that the world is more violent, it's that people now can see more violence every day.
Oh yeah, because you can just record it with your phone. Somebody shout "World Star," you know.
Record it with your phone, post it on Facebook, and all the boomers see it. And that's just how it is. And it's like, do you think they would have been aware, considering that news for the past 40 years, 50 years, has been the same way? It's just always reports the negatives. It almost never reports.
And also, again, statistically, the world's actually less violent than it used to be.
Yeah,
we just see a lot more of it. It's like, you think the world is really more violent than it was during the feudal era or before that, or like when the Crusades were going on and people were just slaughtering each other en masse.
I mean, even just like not even that long ago, like in the 80s. You know where the most dangerous place on Earth in the 80s was the New York subway.
Yeah.
I can believe that, for sure.
Now it doesn't. It's not. I mean, now it's Mexico. But, like...
Well, statistically, the most dangerous place on Earth is probably the Congo.
No, it's Mexico. Mexico is number 1 right now. They're the fattest country on Earth and the most dangerous. So,
well, I knew they were the fattest.
In conclusion, fat people are dangerous.
Very angry.
Yeah. High blood pressure will do it.
All right. Well, I would love to stick around, guys, but I gotta go see my fiance today, and I'm getting ready to leave the house. So it was great talking to you.
Thanks for being on. Do you want to plug anything before you leave, or you good?
No, I don't have any social media. I would just like to say that for anyone that's interested in some card games, definitely check out Legends of Runeterra. It was probably my new favorite card game of all time. So absolutely give it a check out. You know, I know it's made by Riot, so that immediately turns a lot of people off. But that's really the only thing I can say is I would ask anyone that's interested in card games. I'd like to talk about it a bit more next time, but
yeah, I actually have it downloaded. I just haven't bothered playing it.
It's really fun. I would highly recommend it. All right, catch y'all later.
Yeah, see you. Okay. What were we talking about?
We're talking about how dumb people are.
Yeah, people are freaking dumb.
But,
I mean, most people aren't. Most people are average intelligence.
Yeah.
by the
but
definition of
compared
the
to-
word average. But if you happen to sit above the average line, everybody seems like they're fucking retarded.
Yeah, that's definitely. I feel that way a lot, and I just forget that, you know, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like,
And a lot of it
I
comes
don't.
down to people being selfish more than stupid, right? People take
Yeah.
decisions that seem like they're stupid decisions because they're taking the immediately self-interested decision.
hmm Like, I don't like to see. I don't like to act like be like pretentious or anything.
Yeah.
I almost never brag. Like, I hate bragging, but I do if I have to in like certain situations.
Yeah.
When it's not even considered bragging, just like talking about like an achievement I had or something. Just I don't like bringing it up. I don't know. I don't know why. I feel like an asshole, but I and I don't even look at other people that way. And they like talk about. I'm like, oh, you know, that's dope. But
Yeah, because I think most
don't-
people understand too. It's not bragging when you're like regaling somebody in a story, right? Because you're instead of like boasting about an achievement, you're actually making them a part of the achievement. Like you're living through this experience with me by me retelling the story
Yeah.
to you, and that's just good conversation. And a lot of times, especially. You can tell the difference between somebody who is trying to one-up somebody, which is when they just tell them about an achievement immediately after somebody tells them about an achievement, as opposed to somebody who's trying to relate to the other person, where after they
Yeah.
tell them about their story, they're like, oh, I understand because I went through something similar like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like the intent comes off clear based on the way the person presents what's going on.
Yeah, the tone and everything. Because like there's so many times where I'll talk about something where I did like really well or something, and I will say like 10 times before I say it that I'll be like, listen, I'll be like, you know, I'm not
You feel guilty
trying to
about it before
brag.
you even go into it.
Exactly. That's the thing. And I don't know why. I think it might have to do with like I don't know what it has to do with being, to be honest. I just know I feel bad for like doing well at something. I don't know why.
I never feel bad about being awesome. That's who I am.
I mean, being like cool is like one thing, you know, being like shit, like people being likable is one thing, but like when I bring up like me winning tournaments back in the day for Call of Duty and shit, like
Yeah.
I kind of like hate talking about it ish.
Mm-hmm.
Even back then I did. Like my friends would go around and tell a bunch of people, and they'd be like, and then people come up to me and they're like, oh, I heard you go to Call of Duty, and I'd be like, nah, I'm not good. I'm not good.
Yeah.
Shit, one guy almost got into a fight because someone was joking about me being bad. I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? You're gonna fight him because he's joking? Like he was like, he's not bad. He was like, I watched him live because he did. He was
Like
there
how
for the
how
tournament.
invested is this other person?
He was very invested.
More so than you, obviously.
Like, well, yeah, that's the thing. That's like these people make a bigger deal than I do. Because if someone calls me bad, I'm just like, yeah, I'm bad. I'm not good.
Yeah. Well, that's why there's one experience with Smash Brothers I like to brag about because I'm not good at Smash, right? There's a lot of my friends who think I'm good just because I beat them regularly, but that doesn't mean you're good. It just means the other person's worse.
Just means you're better than them.
Yeah, like you're good by comparison. That's everything's relative, right? And
Yeah.
the one experience I like, there was this very small like classroom sized tournament in high school. It was like after one of the like tax tests or whatever that we were doing, right? Somebody brought their GameCube, they brought Melee, and we all hooked up into a pool. No money, obviously, because this was in school. We would have gotten in trouble, but we all got into a pool together. And I won the tournament with fucking Pichu. That's just how bad everybody else were. There's like beat the whole tournament with only Pichu. And there was like 20 people involved in it because we were all done with our tests and almost everybody in class played. And that's like the one moment I actually like to brag about. It's like, how do you win? Like, how do you lose to a Pichu
Oh no, I
in
mean
Melee?
I would talk about that shit too. That's
It's not like winning with Pichu in Smash Ultimate. That would actually be understandable. He's a really good character in that one, but in Melee,
that's like that one of the tournaments I won. The first one I won was there was this one guy that was like just noob tubing everyone, dude, and people couldn't deal with it. They could not deal with it. But I fucking shit on that guy, and I'm to this day. It feels so good to gotten that guy, um, what would disqualify or not disqualified, eliminated
yeah.
because he was just cheesing his way to the top, and it was good to just shit on it.
Oh, kind of like remember that time that we all play? I think you were there, right? And Brent was there too. We were all playing like a little in-house tournament for Melee at me and Matt's place.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, and everybody was railing on about how Brent just plays Ganondorf and only uses the Warlock
Yes.
kick, right?
He does.
And he had beaten like 2 people before he had come up to me, and I just picked because we were doing the built-in tournament, so everything was just best of 1, right? And you were stuck with the same character from the beginning. And I picked Roy. And all I had to do is counter him over and over again because it's the only thing he knew how to do.
Yeah.
And I actually almost won that whole little mini tournament. David barely beat me on the last stock. And I just found that so hilarious because I don't even really play Melee anymore, even by that time. Like, I hadn't played in years. Mm-hmm. And B, I was joking like I was some type of Roy main. I historically never played Roy. Like, ever. I just picked him up for that tournament and was talking, like, out my ass. And I still almost beat him on his main, and he was playing Mario.
Oh, boy.
I was actually more of, like, a Peach and Ice Climbers player.
Oh, sorry. I am not that good at Smash whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think I'm above, like, average, maybe. But not compared to, like, all those Arlington boys.
Yeah, shit. Yeah. Like, I'm above casual, below professional.
Yeah, because, I mean, they're all fucking tryhards, let's be honest. But, like, yeah, but I'm definitely a lot. But, like, when I first played Smash, dude, I had no idea. I didn't know you could roll. I didn't know anything. And when I say first, I mean, like,
on the 64, like way back
in college.
Oh,
well,
wow.
I'm saying even like when Brawl came out, I didn't know how to play.
Wow.
It wasn't actually until I was in Arlington that I learned how to play Smash, like, correctly, because like Matt and all of them were playing it, and I was just like,
and they were like teaching you techniques.
Yeah, and they like taught me how to play, and they were like, "Oh, you could roll." I was like, "What the fuck? You could do this the whole time?"
Yeah. Well, see, we knew how to play even all the way because I think Matt was 5 when he first got the game or something. Like he had just he was 5. He had just graduated kindergarten. It was like his gift for getting into actual school, right? Mm-hmm. And that would have made me 7. And the reason we learned how to play really quickly, not only the fact that we always pick things up fast. But we actually would watch the intro, like, little tutorial thing, because in every single game, they kind of have, like, if you leave it idle enough, it'll show you how to play the game.
Yeah.
And we also read the booklet, and in there, it shows you every single, like, basic move that you can do in the game. It explains, like, strong attacks, which is what people call tilts now, just because, you barely tilt the stick. But in the actual game, they call it a strong attack. And they broke down every single move and then all the specials that people could do. And we're sitting there looking at the book and just, like, doing everything that we see, like, putting the inputs in. And we quickly figured out how the game operated.
See, that was the thing. Like, I was really bad at, like, reading tutorials or anything when I was younger.
Mm.
Mostly because, like, I had, like, there were other people, like, everyone in the house, like, played games. but they were all like older games. Like they were all like they played like Nintendo games where everything's self-explanatory as you play the game. And I started off as like Nintendo as well. So tutorial like reading just kind of like was to me like I just could not do it. Like I was just if there was reading I just skipped it most of the time. But except for in RPGs, I would actually read an RPG.
Well, you know, RPG. If you don't read, you don't succeed. That's always been my motto. So it's actually how I learned how to read at a higher level.
That's how I learned how to. Yeah.
Playing RPGs when I'm like 3 or 4, I have to figure out what these symbols on the screen mean, or I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it was the same. That's how I like got like advanced reading.
Yeah,
for my
it's like a fucking 4th grade reading level by the time you're in kindergarten.
Exactly. But yeah, I feel like games helped a lot in development.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it comes to IQ, is that like
so I can break it down because
IQ.
What'd you say?
Are you like born with a higher IQ? Like,
Yes. I can break this down because people don't understand what IQ is, and they make a big deal like it's the only thing that matters, which is not true.
Well, obviously it's not because of how like just like how they do the tests in general.
Yeah. But basically, because people have a huge misunderstanding of what it is, IQ measures a thing called G factor, right? Or you know your GQ sometimes general intelligence, right? And basically, it's measuring the response rate of the inside of the brain, right? Because you have neurons that fire, and not everybody's neurons fire at the same rate. And so a good predictor for a high IQ is reaction time, because a reflex is like 2 neurons firing one to the next. And then complicated series of thoughts are multiple neurons in a chain. So somebody with a higher IQ is going to fire through all of those neurons slightly faster than somebody else, and the longer the chain gets, the farther ahead the other person goes. And this has a lot to do with development too. So the way you measure IQ right now, it's not the best way, but it's fairly accurate enough to matter, is mental development. And basically, the IQ score using 100 as the baseline, as like a 1-to-1, is kind of giving an illusionary picture of what your development would be, right? So if, say, you were some freak of nature with an IQ of 195, and you were 4 years old, then you would have had a general development of being nearly 8 years old mentally by the time that you were 4. If you were, say, 30, you would be around 58 mentally. When it comes to development. And that's not exactly what it means, it's just the easiest way to build a picture for people so they can understand.
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah.
It makes sense.
And so having a higher IQ, basically the advantage that it gives you is that you can problem solve faster. And the basic way I could put it down to where people can understand without getting like a misinterpretation of what it means, if you were to put a full puzzle, like everybody has equal access to all the parts they need to solve whatever the problem is in front of them, the person with the high IQ, more often than not, will solve that puzzle faster than the other person. That's basically the way you break it down. And that's why good IQ tests are image-based tests. Like, they'll show you a pattern.
Yeah. No, I actually took a few IQ tests not too long ago.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see, I'm also explaining it for people at home.
True.
You'll see like a pattern, like a series of images. Like it'll be a a bar, like a rectangle on a triangle on a circle, then it'll be a rectangle on a circle on a triangle, and then it'll ask you what finishes this pattern, and there'll be a bunch of different images, and if you see this pattern in order, it's like, well, obviously the only thing that can come next out of all these things might be if you reverse the pattern and it's the triangle and the circle and the rectangle or whatever, right?
Yeah, the ones that I took, it had like 9 boxes, so it shows you like 2 examples of the patterns.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you
Well,
pick
it'll
the
always
third
give
one-
you
the third one
examples,
to
so you
solve.
know, because otherwise there's just too many combinations. So they
Oh,
have
yeah,
to give you
exactly.
examples of like, based on these patterns, what is the next one that fills out?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was weird. There's some questions I was just like, oh, sorry, Jesus. I've been yawning a lot lately, just like even like every day, just
Yeah.
for no reason. But yeah, I there was some where I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? And it would take me a little bit to
Yeah.
get, but most of them were pretty easy.
And there's a lot of things like people misunderstand what is and isn't associated with IQ as well, which is why I think people favor it too heavily. Like,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
example, memory is not associated with IQ whatsoever. It's a completely different trait that isn't based on how your neurons fire, but how you store information, right? So, if somebody with high IQ has a good memory, they can probably recall things faster, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have a good memory. Somebody with a lower IQ could just be better at trivia because their brain stores information better.
Mm-hmm.
These are two completely
Oh,
isolated traits from each other. They can work in tandem, but they aren't exclusive.
yeah, I have a friend who has a little bit above average IQ, but his memory is fucking gone.
Yeah.
Just absolutely, you can't remember some I would say like 10 minutes ago, or you like the day before at all.
Yeah.
And but like when it comes to puzzles, he's like a puzzle master.
Yeah.
I mean, literal puzzles too.
Yeah, no, that's what I figured you were talking about.
It's just like I give him shit all the time now, just because he forgets stuff that just like I mentioned like a few hours before, not even that long ago. It doesn't help that he doesn't listen.
Yeah.
He has a really bad time multitasking. Like if he's doing something, he would just cannot fucking do another thing at the same time. Cannot do it.
Yeah, see, I have a very, very selective memory. I always have. Where I have near perfect memory of something that I actually care about. And I don't get to pick what I care about. Like, my brain decides that for me. But if I actually care about something, I will remember things to, like, a pinpoint precision of it. But if I don't give enough of a shit about something, and it's just barely not enough of a shit, I will remember the gist of it at best. And I've been like that my entire life.
Yeah.
Part of that too comes down to my parents. Kind of ruined memory for me. I think I've built kind of like this I don't know, kind of reflexive
what?
safeguard against it, because
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
my parents have this really big obsession with trivia. Both of them do, to the point where like they will constantly run around. And I mean, I'll do that from time to time. I think I picked it up from them, but I'll try to do it in a playful manner, and I also won't try to overload people. Maybe I'll do this once in a blue moon. But they would constantly run around and grill me and my brothers for trivia all the time. Like, nonstop. They'd always be asking, who sings this song, who is in this movie, quote this line, and I'm talking about multiple times per day.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, my mom was even doing this recently, too, where she's basically playing this trivia game on her phone, and she's, like, grilling me for answers to questions that I probably don't even have ever, or have never experienced before, you know? And even then, I've seen questions on her freaking trivia app be wrong. They're like, what animal, other than the human, has a chin? And then the answer they had was none of the above, because no other animal but a human has what you call a chin, which is the extended cleft of the mandible. And they're like, that's factually wrong. If you look at an elephant skeleton, they have chins too. And you can even look this up.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it really depends on like who, like what company, because you know there's a lot of Chinese companies that make apps, and
Yeah.
Ironically, they're not very intelligent when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah.
But oh, we have someone who joined us. By the
Oh,
way. I don't know
hello,
if you
hello,
heard
hello.
it.
No, I did not. Could have interrupted
This is,
any time.
This is Ryan. It's pretty funny that he jumped in at the conversation we're talking about because.
Yeah, you're talking about animals with chins, right?
Well, actually, we were talking about IQ.
Oh, IQ? Is like the chin IQ ratio, like, does it matter? Cause
No, it doesn't.
Okay. I was like, damn, shit, my chin's pretty dope, but.
Ryan, move your mic a little bit away from your mouth.
How about right now?
Yeah, it's good. It's just that whenever you were whenever air was coming out of your mouth, it was blowing in.
Sorry, Airbender. I recently finished Avatar, so.
Oh yeah, they had just put that up on Netflix recently.
Yeah, like a month ago. I
never saw it through, to be honest, but
yeah, I never watched all the way through either. Till
yeah, I finished it like yesterday. It's a pretty damn good show.
it is pretty good. Like going back and watching again, it actually was really good.
Yeah, it's one of those shows I remember being good enough that I would recommend it to people who'd be interested. But I can't care about it enough to force myself to watch it all the way through. Because I've seen more episodes than not. But it's like, man, I just don't want to rewatch every episode I've seen. And I won't know which ones I've missed to just go isolate and watch those ones.
Yeah, I mean, that first season's it's okay. I mean, it has some good stuff in it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a kid's show. Like, but it has that feeling that it's still like it's younger. It's not until
Okay.
season 3 where it picks up.
Yeah, exactly. Where shit starts getting real.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are some like moments where it's. I think it's just that we've seen season 1 so much, or book 1 so much that like. Because I remember they'd have like, oh, today we're doing like a marathon of book 1, and it's just gonna be the whole thing,
So, like,
and they did that a lot.
And they never went to the next one after that.
And book 2 is way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah.
Book 1 all the time. I remember that watching it back on.
Yeah, it was always that, and like, yeah, I remember book 2, and I barely remember book 3. Like, I didn't really watch all of it
You know, Netflix
until.
is making a live action series about it.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's gotta be better than the M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, it has to be.
Like, I could take
mean-
a shit better than the M. Night Shyamalan one.
I mean, I think they'll probably learn. I don't know if it'll be as good.
Five guys to move a rock. Kind of fucking shit is that?
Like, we won't talk about that, but God, I don't know. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, if anything, I would probably, if I went back to it, probably wouldn't. I'd probably just rewatch the last season, because I know of the episodes I missed. Oh, Buck is saying he can't hear you. If you could try projecting a bit more. I know most of the stuff I missed was leading up to the finale, which I saw the finale and like the episode before it, but I randomly missed quite a bit of stuff in the last season.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, if you've seen I just watched the last season. It's pretty good. I
I
mean,
mean, there's some episodes in season 2 that's like worth watching.
yeah, there are a lot of good episodes in season book 2, whatever.
Just push through that shit. That shit's
Well, I remember for most of the stuff before that, I've seen pretty much every episode. Maybe missing like one or two here and there.
It feels so short though. When you finish it, you're like,
I want more.
you feel unfulfilled.
See, you want more,
Like,
but you don't want to go to Korra, or at least I don't want to go to
No,
Korra.
that's a good stopping point. No, I don't think I want to go to
But there is more,
like
actually.
I did think about going to Korra because I wanted more, but like, the
Don't go
thing
to
is,
Korra.
it's not-
There's a better place to go. There's a series of Avatar graphic novels that actually continue after the series that follows in step with it. If you want more Avatar, go to the graphic novels.
Then I gotta read.
Yeah, you gotta read.
Chris, you watch JoJo. You read subtitles almost every day. You
Listen, I know I read. Okay, I'm very aware that I read stuff.
No, don't you know reading's for babies?
Podcast, dude.
Huh?
I think I should mention his IQ on this podcast. You have a big old whopping 129. You can read.
No, we've established this. Reading's for babies.
Exactly. I'm not
Yeah.
a baby.
Okay. Now you're just discouraging.
Yeah.
Matt, where's Matt at? I gotta give him a call.
Matt, who? Which one?
Let's see. Is it the fifth or the sixth one that I'm talking?
I don't know which one you're talking about. No, we're not talking about that, Buck. It's not happening. It's not happening. This is not. No, I don't think we talked about it at all last podcast, so we're gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, we have not in 2 podcasts now. We haven't even
Because
mentioned it.
Matt's not here, so it's not happening.
What's not talking about? What are you talking about?
I'm not saying it.
If you don't have any of the streams up, you can see the chat in the restream chat.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
in Discord as well.
Under the text channels, it says restream chat, and you can see anything that anybody says on any of the live shows.
Whoa. Oh, no! We're not talking about it.
Oh, he popped in. He popped
He
in just
doesn't
to...
want to talk about ants.
He brought it up. He came in just to bring it up. You're making him want to take your privileges away.
Yes, I don't want to talk about ants because it happens. When we talk
Every
about ants,
pig.
it just doesn't end.
Ants, like the insect?
Yes.
What the hell?
Welcome to Antcast, where we give you 112 unique facts about ants every single podcast.
Go fucking well, I'm down. No, where does this start?
It never ends. That's the problem.
God, if we could edit the Ant-Man ad that goes ants. Ants. Where they just slap each other. That'd be great.
No. No ants. Alright. I moved up to New York so I don't have to deal with fire ants. So here I am.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm
No
gonna
more
transplant
fires.
an entire mound. And they'll die once winter hits, but I'm gonna put it right in your yard, so you have to deal with them until then.
Yeah, you have to deal with giant sewer rats, sewer gators, people. I don't know, dude. It's worse over
I don't live in
No,
the
he
city.
he has to deal with crabs. That's what he has to deal with.
Yes, I do have to. There are a lot of like if you go outside and there's a lot of crabs in front of my because there's like water right across the street from me. If there's a lot of crabs there, you can fucking smell them in the air.
That's why you got nice young ladies, Chris.
God damn it. The wrong crabs.
Oh,
Yeah.
There are swamp rats. And those are some big motherfuckers.
kill them for XP. I just imagine you just standing outside, whacking with a stick or something.
just trading in the swamp.
He puts his big boots on and starts crushing the crabs beneath his feet. 1 XP each one. Just one.
Ah!
One.
Ah!
One.
Fuck, it's a 99.
Mud crabs.
Mud
Fucking mud
crabs.
crabs.
Hey, as long as you're not dealing with cave crabs, Because those things are like demons.
They're micro. They're blue crabs.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're tiny. They're not even that big. But yeah, the swamps over here, man. I don't even know what's in there. There's like dead bodies.
Rats
Shit.
of unusual
I'm not even
size.
joking about that.
Dude, that's where the New York mafioso dropped the dead bodies.
Actually,
You
in
say
the
that.
90s,
Yeah.
in the
Crab
90s,
battle.
they dug up a lot of like there was like 50 something bodies in there
Really?
in swamps near me, yeah. And there's now mind you, it's not that much swamp. All right, lots of bodies.
Yeah, swamp's a swamp. It eats them up. Trust me.
Well, no, the ogre gets to eat them.
Yeah, the ogre in the swamp gets, and the crabs,
And the
and
crabs.
the deer, and the rats.
Yeah.
Crab. No.
Crab battle.
I'll have a crab battle, but not the other one. But
Oh, he's bringing up the harem stuff again.
here we go again. You know, I mentioned.
Yeah, harems are definitely a place where you don't want crabs.
100%. Do not want crabs in a harem.
Unless, I guess, it's a crab waifu. Be like,
No.
I guess that's acceptable.
be like the female from Dr. Zoidberg species.
Ugh. Could have at least made her hot.
I don't know, that could be interesting. You never know. Don't knock it till you try.
And maybe if she was like.
She's
a
got like
crab
those
girl
weird
from,
tentacles on her face.
like an anime crab girl, you know, or something.
Yeah,
It'd be okay. Like to have the monster girls, you know.
Yeah. So it'd be
Monster
like the
that.
Scorpion King, but the bottom half's a crab.
Yeah, I imagine a horrific, ugly
It'd be like the Spider Girl, but a crab.
Yeah, see, that would be okay.
Because at least the
But-
top half would still be human-ish.
Ish.
Yeah. But then, like, she wouldn't have a vagina.
Yeah, she had
Well, no, they have it.
and you have to-
Yeah, for some reason, like, all of them have vaginas. Even, like, the snake
'Cause they're,
women and stuff
half
like that.
human.
Yeah, but, like, the bottom half isn't a human half, and yet the snake woman still has a vagina. I don't get this.
Because
It doesn't...
they have to be fuckable. You gotta fuck them. That's the you
Like,
know, that's
this,
the
this
whole
has always
deal.
been my problem with mermaids. Like, who wants to fuck a mermaid? It's got a fish bottom.
Yeah, well, if it's
Probably
like the
smells like a
fucking
fish market.
Lamia,
Now, if there was a fish top, I'd be fine.
Yeah, fish top, woman bottom.
no, reverse mermaids are gross.
Making out with those big ass fish lips while you're fucking.
They got,
Imagine getting a
got, like,
blowjob from that thing.
They're just giving you a dead stare. It's just fucking. Boom, boom,
Flapping their little fish fins around.
boom, boom.
Hard, yeah, you like that, yeah, you sweat. Oh my
I don't know why, but I imagine they have like big fucking hairy Bigfoot feet,
Yeah.
like gross.
Coming from
gross
behind, and all you just hear it going
Just
the whole time.
duck wife.
Oh yeah, man, you don't want no duck waifus.
Oh my god.
But wait, isn't there already a duck waifu? I thought Daisy Duck was a thing.
That's like furry.
Hey, listen, I'm not into it, but there are people that are. I'm just
Listen,
acknowledging
the
that
only
it is a
time
thing. It's
I'm
a
a furry-
degenerate thing, but it's a thing.
The only time I'm a furry is Lola Bunny. I'm sorry. That's just. It's not my fault. Not my fault. All right.
I'm gonna make fun of you from now on.
Listen, I accept that. You know, they shouldn't have made a fuckable bunny character. This is-
The entire intent
But
of
they
that
did.
character was making her fuckable. Like, she was
Exactly.
a tease that entire movie.
like, that's not my fault. That's just biology and psychology. But you know,
Well, psychology is related to your biology.
true.
You're just a
Right.
series of meat tubes.
But ant waifus, see, I assume ant waifus would be kind of close to bee waifus. And
Well, we know what ant waifus look like. We've seen both Bugs Life and ants.
those are different. Those are two. I mean, you know what I mean. See, I played this game that was pretty much like a knockoff Maple Story. I mean, it was like literally a fucking knockoff Maple Story called La Tale. And there was some bee waifus in it. Oh my god! They were
Bee
thick
waifus.
as fuck.
With the stingers?
They were. Oh my god! Let me hold on. I'm gonna try to find a picture and I'll post it in Discord.
Slowly crawling into Chris's.
What about the bee waifu from Banjo?
The bee waifu from Banjo.
Yeah, it was like Banjo Tooie. Wasn't there a bee that you
No, you're thinking about Conker's Bad Fur.
Was it Conker? Well, Conker had the flower. I don't know. It had the bee too.
Yeah, Conker had the flower. Yeah, no, there is the bee
Okay.
in Banjo Tooie.
There was a bee in Banjo-Kazooie?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I looked up Banjo Bee Girl and put out the images, and it was kind of a mistake.
You don't have safe search.
See, she kind of looks like what like an ant girl would look like.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're pretty close. Close.
No, my favorite insect waifu is Princess. What's her name? Oh, that's literally her name. Is Princess What's her name from Earthworm Jim?
Oh,
Right. She comes from like this insect kingdom where everybody looks like horrific insects, but she's actually teased for being unattractive by her people's standards because she actually looks like a normal, attractive woman. She doesn't even look like an insect, even though she does come from this insect people.
Sick.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah. It's kind of like with that show we were talking about a few podcasts ago, with the elves being like super old.
Super old.
What was that? What was that show? The reviewers one.
Oh, Ishiku reviewers, the
Yeah.
interspecies reviewers of the English name. Yeah. And the Mana thing, right? Where like
Yeah.
the whole setup of that show was that the elf and the human adventurers had different opinions on what was attractive because humans are very visual, and the human would rather date a 500-year-old elf than a 50-year-old woman because she still looks like a young girl. While the elves are, they see like the mana in people. They have a sense for mana. So the elf would rather fuck this like 50-year-old woman because her mana's younger than the 500-year-old elf.
Even though the elf was hot.
Yeah.
Oh, I posted a picture in general, by the way, of the what I was talking about. I mean, dude.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Let me.
Yeah.
I'll share it for everybody. Yeah. What? Oh man, it's making me reselect my apps again. I hate that. Because they just updated Windows, and they came out with a new, probably equally crappy version of Microsoft Edge. And it's like I don't want to use
Great.
your fucking Edge. There we go. Bee waifus.
Oh, I lost.
You lost.
I lost. That's, come on. Come on. It's not my fault.
Kinda is.
Listen. Alright?
Wait, who
Maybe
said
it
I'm
is
attracted
waifu.
to bees? I didn't say I was attracted to bees. You were the one that said you were attracted to bees.
I'm not attracted to bees. Be waifus. True, we always. Oh, man.
But no, as long as the
how
ant
did we get to
waifus, ants. As long as the ant waifus don't look like the ants from Jet Force Gemini, that's all that matters.
I don't know what the ants look like. I never played Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah. How has nobody else ever played Jet Force Gemini? That's like the best game on the 64.
I don't know. I just never played it. But I liked. No. I'm not talking about ants anymore. I was gonna see. I was brought it up.
Ant can carry like 10 times her weight.
We all know. Already talked about. Now
I'm now as strong as an ant if an ant was this big.
You're just fucking with me. Man.
And people listening, because it works on the stream because I'm have my camera on. People listening in the podcast will have no idea what was going on. They should just go, what's it, Dragon Ball P, I think was the name of it, or PP, whatever. They should go look up. It's an Oni video. Funny sketch.
All of Oni's videos are good.
Yeah, especially potato salad.
Potato salad, pointy bits.
Pointy bits. Haha, watch out for them pointy bits.
I fucking love the. I love the noise. The fucking hit noise when he touched. Oh, so good. Oh, when Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, I was like, if enemies don't go when they die, I don't want to play it.
Yeah, I think shit like that every time a new game comes out in a series. It's like, actually one of the things that pissed me off about Final Fantasy VII the most, and I don't count this towards any scoring because it's strictly a subjective thing, right? But the thing that pissed me off the most is that it was the first game in the whole series to change the victory fanfare. Like, it still has the opening, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, but then after that, it's got, like, that weird casino loop instead of the ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. And that, like, I got irrationally pissed about that, and I'll even admit that it was irrational. It was just like, no, you're changing things on me, I don't like it! But I think that's also why they brought that back later on. Like, my favorite version of that theme is from 12, where it's just, like, orchestrated.
I never played, like, anything after 10. And I only played 11 when there was a private server for it.
Then you could play it for free.
Yeah. But I never had, like, online, really, PS2 or anything. So it was like, it's a game, but it's online only. And I was like, what? What do you mean? But Final Fantasy. And, Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy. I hit them with the short level up.
I won't even say that there's much worth playing after 10. I mean, 12 is fun.
11's fun.
Yeah, 11's fun. But now you have to basically play it on a final server to experience it, like, full,
Yeah.
12 is fun. There's a lot of really good things about 12 that I like.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a lot of just annoying things about the game, too. 13 is absolute garbage. Like, hot garbage. But the 13-2 and Lightning Returns are actually okay games, but you never want to play them because to get the context, you have to play through 13. Or you don't have to play through 13, I guess would be the most accurate way of saying it, because it's kind of a movie that plays itself.
That's kind of like... It is like kind of unrelated, but it's kind of like the whole, like, The Witcher series.
Yeah.
Like, I've been told many times not even to touch the first and second one.
Yeah, I enjoyed
But,
them.
like,
Which I played those and not the third one. The third I mostly just watched. But I can understand why people say don't touch them, especially because the third one just catches you up on everything.
yeah, it's just like, I want to, but, like, at the same time, I've been told that the mechanics and everything are just fucking not good. So, but I still haven't barely even played the third one, so I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even.
Honestly,
Huh?
like, let's see, how many hours have I already sunk? 'Cause it took me like 4 times to get into it. I don't know, like every time it was like slow start. But once
Yeah.
it gets rolling, it gets rolling. It gets rolling, baby. Like I'm like like I got 40 hours into it, and I heard it's like a 180-hour game. And it feels like I barely scratched the surface, but playing Witcher 3 is almost playing Game of Thrones. Like, y'all seen of course y'all seen Game of Thrones. Everybody should have seen Game of Thrones.
Have you seen it, Tommy?
Oh yeah, I've seen the whole thing
Oh, okay.
from start to finish.
I think we talked about it before.
Yeah, it's like I have a lot of mixed opinions on it. I think overall it was a good series. Though I had gripes about the very beginning because obviously there was it's not like there was any more or less bloodshed or sex that was in the actual book. It's just that they chose to focus on it more during the beginning as a way of hooking the audience in.
See, that's what turned me off.
Yeah, but then it kind of
as long as I did.
stabilizes after season 1. But then the end of
Yeah.
the show is like really rushed, and they don't flesh things out very well, and things don't make any sense because the seasons start getting shorter and shorter. And it's a very disappointing ending, not because it had to be disappointing. Martin said he's pretty much going to do things the exact same way in the books. It's just they didn't have time to really make anything make any sense, and it's not satisfying. But that's basically my quick opinion on Game of Thrones.
Do you think Martin will finish the books?
I don't know. I think he's probably going to die before he gets through the last book.
I feel that. I don't
Yeah.
think the books are
I Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say, yeah, like it took me a long time to even watch it, just because I would try to watch it and it would just be sex, and I was just like, oh, well,
Yeah.
nah,
It's like I might as well just be watching a porno at this point.
Yeah, like,
It really doesn't make for good storytelling.
There's like a couple parts where it's like, obviously the very first sex scene you ever seen is important to the story. Because it's the twins fucking, and that's like the whole setup of everything.
yeah.
But then, like,
That situation, yeah.
then there's only a couple ones that matter after that, like the time where the dude's fucking the harlot, or like the whore or whatever, the prostitute, and he gets information, or she gets information from him and then carries it back over. Like, there's a couple things where it actually matters to the progression of the story, but most of it's just like gratuitous.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, well now that I have to, pause and go go to the bath and go take a nap,
I was the second one to say that. Quiet guy is too quiet. So, Ryan, you need to speak up or something.
Are you able to turn his volume up?
I don't know. Let me check.
You can in Discord. You can right click.
Oh, I can. Okay. I am not used to using Discord to do this. We only just recently started.
Yeah, true.
It is
Yeah,
not
that's right,
letting me
click on
change
put his
his
user volume up.
volume.
Here, let me try something here. I'll be right back. I'm gonna bump out and
Yeah, it wasn't letting me adjust his volume.
If you right click his name when he comes back, you can.
Well, I saw that. It was just the thing was locked at 100%. It wasn't letting me move it at all.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
That's weird. Because I turned him up to 130, 140.
There we go. How about now?
No, you are much louder.
Yeah. You're louder to me too. No, it will not let me adjust his user volume at all.
I switched to my phone. I don't know. I gotta switch up some settings on my computer for something. Maybe some driver issues.
Yeah. Like, I was able to hear you before, and I'm pretty sure if I go into the audio later on, I can bump it up some. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess the people over on YouTube or Twitch or whatever were having trouble hearing you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, see, like, you
Yeah,
can even
it's
see it
probably-
on the stream. It will not let me change his user volume. Which is
That's
weird.
so
Probably
weird.
my end.
Huh.
I mean,
Our computer's funny.
it wouldn't let me
that's
change
neat.
either of your user volume. Well, yeah, I was clicking on yours too to see if it would change. It wouldn't let me change either of them.
Have you tried like just clicking on the left, like when you're in
What do you mean?
like where it shows all three of us on the left
Like in Discord
in
itself?
Discord? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll let me change it there. I don't know why it wouldn't let me change it in the actual call. That's weird. Okay, speak again.
What's up?
Yeah, okay, that'll probably help. I boosted up to 150. That is weird that it wouldn't let it do it on the other one.
Evan's on D Live.
Well, it says he's on D Live,
You're
and he
talking to
probably
Twitch.
is, but it says it's on Twitch. Yeah.
Hey, talking to Twitch.
Like, it has the Twitch icon, and even... Because I have D Live up on my phone, because it's one of the ones that I keep up to see if it's continuing to go. And even the Restream bot over here says he's on Twitch, so... Evan, you lied to me.
Liar! Hang!
Okay, where were we?
We were talking about Game of Thrones and how it just makes you want to go fap for a season. I mean, you know.
Well,
No,
you're
that
comparing
was,
The
like-
Witcher to Game of Thrones.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Which it
Work.
sort of is. That world building is just it's pretty like. Should give me 1 second. That beer's getting to me. Hang on.
Beer.
Yeah, I'm drinking a beer.
You're gonna beer.
Yeah, because my stepdad helped me. And he left this beer here. It's Bud Light. It's bad, but you know it does the trick. But anyways, yeah, Witcher 3. It's like it has one of those worlds that you can just like soak in, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
But they
equally,
took
it
their-
does come
their-
from a novel series.
Oh yeah. And that really is what helps out a lot, because it's like there's things in that game they focus on the small details, you know. Like you
Yeah.
can go not too far. Like he goes like off the main quest, you'd be like, fuck that. I'd go. Yeah, I know Bud Light is disgusting. I agree, but it does the job. but no. Which
Well, I
three?
mean, let's be
That's why
honest.
whenever
All
Chris-
beer
every-
is disgusting. You don't drink it because it tastes good.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not soda.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I wish it was. I wish I had that tangy soda taste,
Yeah.
but it just has that yeast.
The yeast.
That-
The hops.
Tastes like bread.
It's basically just
Not good bread.
alcoholic tea, if you think about it.
This tea tastes like boiled water leaf.
This tea tastes like used vagina.
Yeah,
So
probably.
That's what Miller Lite tastes
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Here, look. You hear this? Oh my God, no. I'm giving that 5 more minutes until I drink more.
5 more minutes.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's gonna be like. It's gonna be so fucking warm.
Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, gross.
That reminds me of like one of my favorite lines from Wild Hogs. And you got the two guys at the the carnival. It's like, we don't want your piss warm beer, and the other guy's like, yeah, when we drink piss, we want it cold. And he's like, what?
True. Yeah, we want the piss cold.
Say what?
But yeah, beer's
Yeah.
nice. There's some I prefer over others, but in reality, it's all gross to me.
Yeah,
Yep.
but you
I
drink it for a
understand the
reason.
skill.
Plus, it gives you a rad belly, dude. It gives you like that Patrick gut.
That Patrick gut.
Good, Patrick, good.
Instead of clapping them cheeks, just clapping those rolls, dude.
Great.
Clapping the flaps.
Sounds good. Oh no, that's why I drink. If I drink liquor, which I also cannot stand.
Dude, I can go for your world famous jungle juice again. I
World
like
famous
to
juice.
I like to smash my hand.
Yeah, I told that story not that long ago.
Oh, really?
Maybe we should talk about it on here.
Why? Because I'm the actual guy who smashed his hand. Yeah, it's pretty.
You want to hear about it, Tommy?
You can
ever
talk
want to
about
hear
whatever.
about the story? All right. So, how long ago was it? It was like probably like 4 years ago now. So I think we were still doing the podcast back then. So, so we went to Akon and we made a bunch of alcohol because that's just you have to. I mean, we didn't make the alcohol, we didn't distill it and shit, but we made a bunch of jungle juice.
Yeah.
And we put it into containers. We put it into like bottles. We put it into like a gasoline container.
And Chris, what was in this jungle juice? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly what was in it, but I know it was
Now-
there was Everclear at least.
There was Everclear. There
like a
was
lot.
tequila. There was
Yeah, there was
vodka.
tequila.
There was some fruity drink that we got. What else?
And Kool-Aid packets.
Lots of Kool-Aid packets. That's
Because
important
that shit
part.
masks Everclear. I don't know how, but it masks it like a motherfucker. But the thing is, this is the only alcohol we're going to be drinking for the next 3 days. So as the days go on, it just gets stronger and stronger.
Ooh, it's
And,
fermenting there in the tub, ain't it?
Yeah,
Fermenting. It ferments.
Yeah, it ferments, and then, so by like Sunday, you drink it, and you're like, you're like dying.
Yep.
But yeah. So we make all this drink on a Thursday, and we go the next day on Friday, and now the thing is, it was me, Sebi, Ryan, and Brent. Now me, Sebi, and Brent are very heavy drinkers. Alright. We go very hard, very fast. Now, Ryan's not a heavy drinker. He's about your brother's size, but he doesn't drink as much as your brother did.
I actually didn't drink at all.
At all.
basically. No, yeah.
And he was
You
keeping
ruined a
up
guy's
with
life!
it. Or he was attempting to keep up with it. Because this man got so fucking destroyed. Man, he was in the bathroom. He was like,
Okay, here's where I'll go in. All right. Okay, so so it's like 12 cups of jungle juice in, and I black out. All right, I'm done. I'm blacked out. It was like around 7 or 9 p.m. Everybody was like getting ready to just calm down and go back to their hotel rooms. Well, not me. No, not me. Not at all.
no.
Okay, so first thing, I get wasted. I get hammered. I get trashed. Like, I don't remember a certain point after 8 p.m. I fell asleep in Chris's armpit, his sweaty armpit one time. It was the most comfortable sleep I've ever had.
There's a
He's
picture
got
of it
pictures.
somewhere.
Yeah, he's got pictures. And at one point, all right, I was they sat me down. No, I lost my phone. And this is the first day, mind you. This is the first day that we go there. I lose my phone and I'm blacked out drunk. I don't know where the fuck it is. And so I'm a different person when I'm drunk. This is why I don't get super trashed anymore. Well, not as trashed, but anyway, like, I turn into a monster. All right, because I realize I lose my phone. I don't remember, and I start screaming. I'm like, "Where's my phone? Where the fuck's my phone, please? Where is it?" And Brent was with me. He was like, Ryan, chill, Ryan, chill. And so he took me to the bathroom. All right, I looked around. I was freaked out. I was like, "Where is my phone?" And I was not happy. And Brent was still trying to calm me down, but all of a sudden, I just took my big old fist and I slammed it against the wall.
Boy, was that a mistake.
Yeah, it was. I didn't realize that at first. At first, like Brent told me, I just went, "Ow, ow, ow," like a couple times. Like,
Did you like
"Ow."
break your knuckles?
And I went. No, I fractured it.
Oh,
well. Yeah. But then after a couple hours, I was like, "Where's my phone?" I just went back at it, dude. I went right back at it. I went outside, and They sat me down next to this light, and I calmed down a little bit, but then I fell backwards, and I burned myself on the heat lamp.
Yeah.
Whenever I fell back, and I was like, oh shit. So I was a disaster to myself that whole time. And then there was one point where I guess was this before or after? I don't remember. But Chris was trying to pick me up because I was fucking dead.
This is
He
before.
picked me up.
Because this is
Oh,
when
this
you
is-
were. This was when you were like incomprehensible. Like you were like crying for no reason, dude.
Yeah.
You were just
Yeah, I
saying
remember
stuff that like did not make sense. He was in the bathroom just crying, just like I don't remember. He was just like saying shit. He was like I miss her. I miss her. I'm like, who the fuck you talking about, Ryan? He was just talking about it. He was like, I miss her so much. It was like, Ryan, there was no one. What are you talking about? And he's just losing it. And he's like drooling. And then when he like, that's when you ended up falling asleep on me. You fucking drooling all over me. And like, oh man, it was such an awful night. It was so fucking bad.
Such a dope ass night, dude.
It was not dope. There was nothing dope about it. Have you
Chris-
ever been to the Fort Worth Convention Center,
You talking to me?
Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
you know where the train station, like where you park for the train station?
Yeah.
You know, it's not far, but it's a little bit away. You could hear him yelling from the parking lot. He was screaming. I mean, I was like, holy shit. I was like, what the fuck are we going to do? What are we going to do? And, yeah, it was. It
What
just
you do is
turned
you just
into.
conk him lightly on the back of the head with a tack hammer.
That probably would have been the best option, to be honest, because he was just like, we could not get him because he would not leave without his phone. Like he's like, no, I'm not leaving it. We're like, dude, it's gone. Like it's gone. We cannot find it. We tried helping him find it. We could not find it. It was gone. Like someone probably took it or something. I think when you fell into that light, Ryan, I think that's when you lost your phone.
I think that is too.
I'm pretty sure it's when you lost your phone because we kept looking over there in like the bushes and stuff and under the ivy.
Yeah.
And yeah, you also burned yourself, and that pissed you off even more. And it was like he was just like I never seen him like that. But
even though we had an awful, crazy first night, the rest of the time was pretty dope though.
The second day started off rough.
No, but it got better. It
did get better.
It ended pretty good. Because there was this rave, all right? Okay? Like, Chris was in an awful mood. He was in the shitty mood. He was in the worst mood you ever seen him. He was like, I'm fucking done. I fucking hate this place. I want to go home. And I had to sit next to him. With my busted ass arm. I pat him on the back of my busted ass arm because I was like, dude, it's okay. Don't be down. We can still pick this up. We can still go. We can still chill. It's fine. There's a rave happening. Like, come on. Like, it's fine. And so that picked him up a little bit. And we go to this rave, all right? It was fucking nuts. We weren't drunk. We weren't high. We weren't on anything. We were just on the vibes, all the people, and we just started dancing our asses off.
We were a little. Well, I was a little drunk, and I think Sebby was too. But you didn't drink that the second day at all.
No.
But that was part of the reason why it started off bad is because you were still like in a bad mood from the night before. Understandably, you know, you were fucking. Your hand was swollen like a motherfucker. It was like
He's recovering from being Mr. Hyde.
yeah, and he was hangover. Yeah, the hangover. So he did not want to drink at all. And then when we got there, Sebby locked his keys in the car.
I
And,
remember this, yeah.
yeah, and then I had like the hook because we found like a wire hanger, which luckily happened to be in the parking lot. And I was like trying to unlock the door with it, and I like had just had it, and like Brent just like pushes me aside. He's like, "Let me do it," and I was like, "You son of a bitch." I was like, fine. I was like, you can fucking do it. And I walked away and tried to find Ryan because Ryan already bounced at that point. and
Did I? I thought I was there. I thought I saw
No.
the whole situation.
no, not the whole thing. You waited for a little bit, and you were like pissed off, so you just kind of like dipped. And then I went to go find you. And then when they came with their drinks, but they didn't grab mine. And I was like, come on. I was like, I wanted to drink too, you know. And then you were like, you got like pissed off, and you were like, well, let's go get Chris's drink. And that's when I got pissed and I dipped. I was like, all right, I'm not dealing with this shit today. So I dipped, and then that's when I found the guy who's cosplaying as Rick. Because we met him the first day. But,
Like Rick from
I
Rick and
found him.
Morty?
yeah.
Yeah.
And, he, like, gave me his flask, and I drank a bunch of his flask, and then Brent showed up, and then we found this group of people, and we got drunk with them, and then there was other group of people who at this point I was already, like, shit-faced, because I ended up, like, twerking on the wall. Like, I put my feet up on the wall and started twerking, and they gave me a big-ass bag of cookies, and I became the leader of their group for a little bit. And then I finally found Sebi after that. And he was like in a shitty mood. He was like, I don't know, man. It's supposed to be like a bro thing, and it's supposed to be for the bros. And then he went inside and jacked off and came out and was in a much better.
Yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah. He was like,
He was like, everything's fine now. It's
yeah. He
okay.
was like, everything's good now. I was like, oh, that's all you need. He was
Like, what are you talking about?
You think
He's
you
like,
think that
"Shut
might
up."
be the problem with Sebi now? Is maybe he just stopped jerking off?
I mean, considering that he's like completely against like pornography and everything now, maybe
Yeah. Maybe he just needs to jerk it and he'll be fine.
maybe that's the problem. Ryan, go tell him. Be like, hey, you need to roll one out.
I don't know, dude. I talked to him like a couple days ago,
Oh boy.
and he was telling me about like how other religions are like
The devil.
they were proven false.
Oh boy,
Like,
that's how
they
you
were
know
all,
somebody's
like-
gone full sail with it.
Yeah. He was like, everyone has contradictions. Like,
But yours has
None of them were
contradictions.
yeah, exactly. And he was talking to me about Buddhism, how it was just like a rabbit hole and all that.
Did you know that Christianity is the only way?
He said that. He was
I
like,
know.
he's like,
I know.
the only reason that the world is like this is today is because people don't accept God into their lives. They don't really accept God into their lives. And I was like, okay, all right.
God. Most answer female. First of all.
Well, he was mentioning before that for male ants, after they breed, they just die.
Yeah, but he's not breeding though. He's breeding.
Yeah.
If anything, he's breeding into a toilet. But
that would be the worst way to go. Like, you don't even actually make a kid out of it. You just like jerk it into the toilet and then you pass over dead.
just fucking die. How do you die? He jerked off at an anime convention.
It's like, oh, we
That's
keep
it.
warning the people, don't do that.
Oh man, it'd be so cursed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Akon, is that convention where a guy jerked off and died?
I heard his last words were "everything's okay."
Everything's okay. Yeah, he was like depressed, and then he jerked off. He's just like, I gotta go to the bathroom, guys.
Yeah.
And he came back like 30 minutes. We're like, where the fuck is he? And he comes back, and he's like, oh, so much better.
You see, the misdemeanor is what makes it even more important.
Oh my god.
Is it a misdemeanor?
Yes.
Or is that-
Yes, it is. Well, because
That's
if he,
all it is?
well, did he go to your hotel bathroom or did he go to the public?
Oh
bathroom?
no.
Convention,
It was-
man.
it
Oh
was
yeah,
the
then that
convention
is
bathroom.
totally a misdemeanor. Yeah.
How did he? How? There were at least like 5 people in the bathroom at all times.
He's just really quiet.
Unless you had practice.
He went real slow, didn't make any noise.
Yeah, he held his breath. Both his feet were on
He
the
just
wall.
like he put
Both
his
his
shirt
feet were on the
over his
wall.
mouth and he just
was
kind of like
putting his
cuffed it
feet downwards. Oh my god.
Oh man.
It's like somebody accidentally walks in on him and you just see him, both his feet on the rims, and he has his dick down.
Oh my god.
And he looks back.
He hisses at them.
Keep-
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I remembered what also started off bad at that is that we, instead of just stopping at the store beforehand, we parked the car, and then Sarah was like, "Let's go to the store." So we had to walk like fucking 8 blocks in like 110 degrees because he didn't want to just go drive to go get it. I was like, dude, it was infuriating. Because, like, once I start sweating, that's it. I don't
Yeah.
stop. Like, I don't stop sweating until I have like completely cool down, which is not going to happen in anime or any convention. Because there's just like people everywhere.
Hey, I mean, at least you weren't wearing a mock turtleneck sweater underneath a jacket.
God no. Oh, see, I don't know how you did that. I cosplayed once, and it did not, like, I did not wear my stuff very long, and it wasn't even that much.
Yeah,
Sammy
I
had a
wore
really
the
good cosplay
entire
that
time.
God, fuck. Sebi had a really good cosplay that time, but he only wore it for like 10 minutes.
It was pretty hot outside.
It was really hot.
Yeah, and I wore it more than once too. Yeah, several times.
Yeah, you wore it fucking. God.
I actually still have it.
Luckily, SGC is mostly inside though.
Yeah. Until you want to go to the food trucks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Acon's usually mostly inside, but when it was in Fort Worth, there was a lot of outside. Like, we'd be outside a lot just because it's so nice. But, I actually found out something. There was this movie from the... I cannot remember it. It's this really trippy movie from, like, the 80s or 70s. And, there was one scene at the end where I was like, wait a minute. Is that the Fort Worth Water Gardens? And then it fucking totally was. I was like, no way. It looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
What movie was it? Transformers?
No, it was an old movie, like an old like 80s movie or 70s. I think it was 70s. It was like super trippy. It was like, oh, I think it's called Logan's Run, maybe?
Oh, Logan's Run, yeah.
Logan's Run. Yeah, Logan's Run. 1976. Yeah,
I've
at
seen
the
Logan's
end,
Run, yeah.
it was at the Water Gardens. That movie was so... I watched that movie.
That's one of those
not
dystopian
sober.
future type movies.
Yeah. I watched it not sober, and boy...
The problem with that one is you can't get too old.
Yeah. What was it, like 25 or something like that?
It's like when you turn like 25. I think it's somewhere around there. You get
like,
taken out.
Yeah, you get replaced. Oh man, it's a cool movie.
Yeah.
But man, it was very hard to watch because I was not sober when I watched it.
Yeah, and it's a very like psychologically intense movie. Like you need to focus on the themes and stuff that's going on in it,
Mm-hmm.
or you could get lost.
Should check it out if you haven't, Ryan. If you haven't seen it,
That's
it's
a
really
classic.
good.
I'll probably check it out after I finish Bill and Ted.
Oh, dude, Bill and Ted.
We were actually talking about
That's actually was originally going to be the topic of this podcast. We were going to talk about time travel and how
Really?
like,
No.
movies that do it right and movies that do it wrong. And we just never got onto the topic until like literally right now. But that's what we were talking about before we started the podcast.
yeah.
Oh, that's an awesome topic, dude. Let's
Yeah,
get
yeah.
started.
Because my original thing was I was going to start bitching about Back to the Future and how it's actually a horrible example of time travel in many ways, especially once 2 gets brought into the picture. The first one works within its own context, right? The rules that it sets down, everything's fine. But then 2 not only doesn't work within the context of the rules they set in Back to the Future 2, but it also retroactively kind of ruins the first movie. Because based on its own rules, there's no way that Biff should have ever gotten back to 2015. Like, ever. And it kind of just ruins everything. They should have been stranded there. They should have never been able to go back, even far enough to recorrect everything. And because it basically, the first one didn't bring in multi-world or the many worlds interpretation. That was brought in 2, where they start talking about how divergent timelines and stuff like that. But because of that, what they fail to realize is that it ruins the first one, because Marty would have never disappeared. Right? Yeah, I know there's a cutscene where he vanished from existence. It doesn't matter. He still should have never been able to get back. The DeLorean shouldn't have been there. Right? Yeah, so the thing with
I can see what.
with the setup, right, is that once you bring in the many worlds interpretation, the Marty that went back in time and split his parents up shouldn't have disappeared, because it functionally would have been a different timeline than the one he was born in. Right? So he would have just been there. And even if he went back to his own time, he would have been in a time where he was never born, and he'd be a stranger in a different universe. And this is the problem with bringing in these divergent timeline things. Bill and Ted, on the other hand, is actually one of the few movies that does time travel right. Because if you really want to avoid the problems with time travel, is you have to, one, throw out the many worlds interpretation altogether, because mathematically speaking, it's probably not even true. But the problem with many worlds is nothing special, right? Everything's happening an infinite number of times. Every version of things that could happen has happened, and it's not just happening once. It's literally happening all the time, infinitely. So there's an infinite number of universes where you were born, there's an infinite number of universes where you weren't, and it's not even a single decision. The example I used for my friend earlier was the split between you drinking apple juice this morning or orange juice. That didn't create a new timeline. Both of those timelines always existed. You're just living through the one where you made that choice. So they are identical up to that point, but there's also an infinite number of ones that are exactly the same as both of those decisions, and ones where there's variations that were similar but still led to the same decision. Which makes everything boring, because there's nothing special about the world at that point. Bill and Ted does not have the many world interpretation. There's only one timeline. And you can't change the past, right? You can't jump to another timeline. Anything you do just sets up what would have happened anyway. Right? And they show you this too, because the future seems like it's in trouble at one point, but it actually isn't. Right? I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't seen it. I'm just going to talk vaguely about it. And it seems like the future's in trouble, but really the future being in trouble at the time that it is has to happen to set up the chain of events for the future to be safe afterwards, right? And this whole thing gets laid out to you in these sequences, even as early as the first one, where Bill and Ted sets up things that they will go back in time and do later to solve their problems now. Like, they'll put a key to a place underneath something that only they'll know where to look for it.
Oh, yeah,
and then, like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
remember real hard, we need to go do this later. But they'll say that before they do it, because the acknowledgement of the fact that they found it means that they'll have remembered to do it later. Like, it's actually a very sophisticated way of thinking about time travel. Because you can't actually change the course of events. once you influence them, right? So you can use the future to set the past. So free will is still involved. It's just more like an economy of will, and they show this off in the final bout in 2 as well, where they're like only the winners get to actually set things up. Yeah, it's really intelligent. This is how I usually treat time travel when I'm writing. Bill and Ted is like the perfect example of how to use time travel in a story.
See, I've never even watched Bill and Ted until like a couple days ago.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I did not
man.
realize how good movies those were.
Yeah, that's why
Well, I haven't seen the second one yet.
Oh, Bogus Journey? It's still really good.
Yeah,
I think the
I've
first
seen
one's better, but there's a lot of people that hate on Bogus Journey for no reason. It's a great film.
I love Bill and
If
Ted.
it still has the charm, I don't see why
Yeah, it
it
does.
should be.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Okay, nice.
And they introduce a lot of cool characters. There's one character that a lot of people don't get, and you may stumble upon that when you watch it. His name is Station. I get the character, but it's hard to explain to people who don't get him why, like, what makes the character interesting and good. But there's a lot of cool stuff. Like, you meet Death in there. They do more than just going through points of history. They go throughout the universe, where like they'll go to hell and heaven and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And you know the third
Well, it's
one's
like
coming.
A departure. It's like a departure from time travel.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. That's pretty clever, though. I like.
But time travel's
What
still
can we-
involved, so that's the interesting part.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
But-
like added DLC to time travel.
And I think I've brought this up before on the podcast. And there was a thing that was making me nervous. The trailer looked good though, so I'm not as cynical or skeptical as I was before.
Mhm.
But when they were first showing the preview stuff for Bill and Ted 3, I was really worried because at the end of 2, this isn't really a spoiler for the story. This is just the setup for 3. At the end of 2, they have kids, right? They come back on their back. They have Bill and Ted Jr., right? And their sons. For the preview information for 3 before the trailer and stuff, and on the IMDb, they were showing that the story was centered around them having to deal with their daughters of the same name. So they're like Billy and Teddy or whatever. They're like girl versions of their names, right?
Mhm.
And that worried me because it seemed like they were changing like the canon and stuff just to please like the current agendas of stuff like that, which
Yeah.
tends to be bad for storytelling.
Yeah,
but
Borderlands 3.
yeah, so it's like, oh, dude, don't get me started on Borderlands 3 again. I think I've ranted 3 different times on this podcast already.
Oh, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, but the trailer looked good. I'm going in with high hopes for Bill and Ted 3. It could still have the problems once he gets there, but hopefully it won't actually be a detriment to the movie too much.
I saw the trailer not so long ago. It looked kind of promising. I
Yeah.
didn't know about like all the other stuff though.
Mhm. Yeah, hopefully it's not another Ghostbusters.
Well, I don't
I
think it'll be
don't.
that by any degree.
I don't think it'll
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Especially with the plot was still if they're still following the trailer wasn't super clear on this, but if they're still following what the plot was originally going to be, the plot for 3 was going to be that after all these years of them becoming like parents and stuff like that, they still haven't written the song, you know, the one that's supposed to like bind the world into peace and stuff like that, and they need to do
Yeah.
like a cross universe adventure to write the song before the universe tears itself apart. And it's like, well, if that is the plot, I'm interested. That sounds like a really good plot. I was interested the first time that they even mentioned it.
Mhm.
and it seemed like a very Bill and Ted style journey to put that in there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's excellent.
Hopefully.
But, it's kind of scary nowadays.
Yeah, and things are just gonna get worse.
Have you heard about Have you heard of let's see, what was that little Dumb and Dumber 2?
Yeah, we don't talk about Dumb and Dumber 2.
Why not? It had Jim Carrey in it. It had what's his face in it from Arachnophobia.
Jeff Daniels reprised his role, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Yeah, I think it had the original cast.
I have to take this jacket off.
That was like the selling point.
Yeah. I mean, it was better in some degrees than Dumb and Dumberer. By far.
Oh
but,
God,
yeah.
I remember that movie. There's shit on the walls. There's shit on the windows. God, I love Bob Saget in that movie.
That's the only part anyone remembered.
That's the only part anybody liked. That's why it's the only one they remembered.
Man. I haven't seen those movies in so long. Well, Dumb and Dumber. I haven't seen it. Bill and Ted either. I don't think I've seen it. Here we go again. In a while. I think the last time I watched Bill and Ted might have been with Matt. Maybe.
Yeah, we had
Not sure.
copies of those on VHS still for like the longest time.
Damn.
Nice. Excellent.
Excellent.
I love it on the second one for Bogus Journey. It's just Bill, Ted, and then Death right on the cover, like just their heads.
Yeah. Hey, I remember watching it at my mom was having me and my sister being like babysat or whatever, and yeah, it was this older kid that showed it to me.
But here's my biggest
It was
problem
really
with
cool.
3, right? Because time travel exists, so they can actually go to any point in history, right? So that means they could go to a point where somebody is still alive, even if they died later. But because of actors being dead, no matter what they try to do with time travel, unless they do some ugly digital insertion, Rufus can't be in the film. Because George Carlin has passed away.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a very important character to the series.
I mean, when did he pass away? It wasn't that long ago, wasn't it?
Oh, it was quite a bit ago. I think it was... what?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, it was
Like, what, 2008?
8.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Damn, it's been that long already. Holy shit.
I know, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but...
Nah. Good for him. That's a leave.
Rufus was in blackface for 2. Because he was disguised as a black woman the entire time.
I don't know if that would be very good right now.
No.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
God, I
might.
miss George Carlin.
They might do some CGI stuff. But
I hope not.
It's just... It would be hard for them to not justify it, though, right? Because of time travel. They could go to a point where Rufus is still alive. There's nothing that could stop them from doing it. And he's been the one that has given them direction and wisdom. So if they're lost in their own story, right? Like, I would hope they don't, but it just wouldn't make sense to the story for them not to.
I mean, either that or they would make it like maybe like a voice or something, or
You
this
need
is
an
small scene where they're
impressionist or
like
something, though.
like a small scene where he's like, no, now you have to guide your daughters or whatever. You
Yeah.
have to be their guide now, or some shit like that. You know, something that makes sense so that they don't have to do it
You
too
need
much.
to be their Rufus.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's like the only scene.
Yeah.
Because that would be like, I think that's probably. I feel like that's probably what they would do if he is in it.
Yeah, it'd have
at
to be
all.
something
Which-
short.
Yeah, because you can't keep that shit up for the whole movie. Like, you can, but it might look bad or sound bad or.
Yeah. Well, see, this was also like knowing how stupid Bill and Ted is. This was like one of the things I was thinking from the beginning. So even with the daughters, it's like, yeah, but they are the type of people that are so stupid that if they did have daughters after their sons, they would also name them after themselves.
Yeah. I can picture that.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be like kind of like girl versions of their names, or is it just straight up Bill and Ted?
No, it is girl versions of their names, but they're like close enough that it's very clearly, obviously girl versions of their names.
Oh, well, then I mean, it could totally be like their second set of.
Yeah. It's like they're so stupid they would also name their second children, especially girls, after themselves as well.
Mm-hmm. Or at least close to it.
Yeah.
But Hungy. But
Kind of be like, let me look up his names. Do you know Eric the Red gave both two of his four legitimate children similar names? You know who Eric the Red is, right?
yeah.
Yeah, like the greatest Nordic conqueror. And he had two sons that had similar names. One of them was Thorstein, like Thorstein, right? And the other was Thorvald. So you had Thorstein and Thorvald Eriksson,
And
who
then
were
you
the
have
brothers of Leaf.
Mr. Leafix.
Yeah. Well, even because Leaf is the only one that wasn't named after a god, because obviously Thorstein and Thorvald are named after Thor, and then they have a sister named Freydis, who's obviously named after Freya. Freydis Eric Stolter. But it's like, people are like that. Some people would even give their kids very similar names just because that's the way people are.
Is her last name literally like Eric's daughter?
Well, that's how they did naming conventions right there back then, right? So now people, it is actually an interesting little history thing because that's what I usually bring to the table. Now you have set names, like you have Jackson or Bergerson or something like that, and you pass that surname over and over for clerical reasons, right? But back then, there wasn't like Social Security, there weren't censuses in the modern sense of it. The closest thing you had to a census was like for taxes, and somebody would write the name down on paper. It would be a huge ledger, right? It wouldn't be the type of bureaucratic documents we have now. So what you knew, and other cultures did the same thing, like down in the Middle East, is you would have a surname that was blank son of blank or blank daughter of blank would be the name.
See, that makes a lot of sense. on
In
why
the
people
Nordic
say that.
area, instead of saying son of blank, which is where we get the word son from, is Germanic, they would literally just attach it to the end of the father's name. So
Yes, that's
all
why
of
it's
Eric's
Yeah.
children were Eric's son, except for his daughter was Eric's daughter.
Eric's son. Oswald's son.
And
Thorvald's son.
yeah, and that was how it would go down. And obviously she wouldn't pass her name because you always take the father's name. So
See, I didn't even. It took me a second to realize that all of his sons' last names were Erickson.
Except
but
his
I
daughter
was
has a
like-
different name.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, because there's
Well, it's like
fucking
Thor's last name
names
is
now.
Odinson.
Yeah, well, look, I'm saying because there's like last names now that still have like
The son in there.
somethingson at.
Yeah. Well,
But,
that's where they
like-
derive from. But they did that because, like, when immigrants first came over here, they would give that name, and then that just became the whole family's name from then on out.
Yeah,
So you
that's
have,
the
like,
thing is like
Johnson,
it's
Jackson.
so you're so used to like I was so used to it just being like someone's last name, like something son,
Yeah.
that I didn't even realize that it was because Eric.
Yeah.
the Red.
Which in some ways, it kind of forcibly became more like the Gallic clan culture, because my last name is McGrath, right? And in the clan culture that the Gallic people had, it would originally be Macra, which is spelled M. You could put the A there, but MC, MAC would still say Mick, right? So MC apostrophe CRAITH. It looks like McCraith. It's pronounced McCraw. And that was named after Cra, which you take the Mick part off, and the whole clan are his descendants. So the clan was called Micra. Nobody actually had a surname in the clan. And then when people started being documented for taxes, like when the Normans came over and took over the English Isles, everyone in the clan, whether you had direct relation or not, if you were just in the Micra clan, got the last name Micra. And that's kind of like the same thing happened to the Nordic people. Even though they were giving their direct lineage name, everybody just got stuck with whatever was the name when they came over.
Wild.
Yeah.
My last name was because we were
Rivers.
some river.
Yeah, river people.
River people. Yeah, we were Sahagins.
Yeah. You're like Schmiegel. Except taller.
Nice.
Schmiegel but taller.
Smeagol but taller.
Yeah.
I'm bigger.
What a lovely compliment.
Well, at one point, Smeagol probably was chunkier because hobbits are pudgy creatures.
Pudgy.
Yeah. He only got
Creepy.
skinny and
Whoops.
deranged when he got mutated by the ring over many, many years.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I also got mutated by the ring over many, many years. Movie
Just
was
in the
scary.
wrong way.
Yeah, that movie was scary. And then you got Ryan with one of the most generic last names,
I'm a Jonesy boy.
but also one of my favorites.
I could be something else though. I'm not quite sure. Because my grandfather, he actually adopted my dad.
Oh,
Yeah,
So-
but my Meemaw is still my Meemaw.
Well, I was gonna say, just so you know, you're not at liberty, or you're at liberty to not have to dox yourself on the program if you don't want to. But if you want to, you can talk about anything.
yeah. I mean,
I'm a public person, that's why I have no problem talking about my names and stuff. But
yeah, it doesn't bother me either.
I don't really care.
Okay.
It's Jones anyway, so
Yeah.
what's gonna happen?
it's such a popular name. Good luck finding you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, have fun. Ryan Jones. Yeah, awesome.
3 seconds
James
later,
Jones.
found you.
Oh, fuck. I gotta change my name to Johnson.
One of my favorites.
Oh God, you don't want to be associated with Ryan Johnson.
No, please, no, never mind.
You find some other last name.
One of my favorite. One of my favorite people's last name is Jones. Mr. James Jones.
Oh. Does he have an
Tommy
Earl in the
knows
middle?
James.
Oh, different
Huh?
James. Oh, it was a different James Jones. It was like, does he have an Earl in the middle?
No, James from Firehouse.
Yeah, I know James.
Firehouse subs?
Yeah.
Yep.
James.
Oh, y'all used to be firefighters, you know?
You gotta be Anne Frank in it.
And Frank in it.
Yeah.
Frank. That was when I was Anne Frank in it. Did I ever tell you about that, Ryan? I'm pretty sure I have.
When you were Anne spanking it?
No, I was Anne Frank in it. Because I was living at UTA. God. They say it's off campus, but I mean, it's right the fuck there.
Yeah, I mean, it was within campus, like, area. Like, what is
Yeah.
actually marked on the map as being part of the campus. But they
I
called
would
it out
consider it
off-campus
on
living.
campus. I always, whenever I tell the story, I always say it's on campus, because it pretty fucking much was.
Well, they was I think owned by a sister organization, but it was the same organization that owned the apartments I stayed at when I was down in Waco. And they too called it off-campus living. I was in the same type of apartment, very similar setup, like with the way the floor rooms were and stuff like that. And we were literally on campus because the campus was built on an old air base, right? And all the apartments were built right there where some of the older on-base living was torn down, and they built the apartments there. And it's like, you couldn't get any more on campus than where we were. You had to drive through an underpass around this long loop just to get into it, and we were basically the start of what was considered campus. And they still called it off-campus living. Just so they could charge more.
So yeah, I would say it was on campus. But yeah, I had to live there like Anne Frank because no one else was supposed to be in that room that I was staying in.
He was a squatter.
So
You were quite literally legally a squatter.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was because I was, staying with friends. So
Yeah. But you weren't supposed to be there.
No, I was
And
not.
if there was inclement weather, they could not kick you out. You had, actually, you could even bring to court that you've been there long enough that if you paid back pay, they'd have to actually start treating you as a tenant unless they found some loophole around it. You would have had legal squatters' rights.
Yeah, it was Anne Frank in it. I put up a blanket in the window so they couldn't see when the light was on. Everything. And they never found out I was there.
It's like get a letter in the mail.
Well, I think I was getting.
Like, hey, we listen to the Vomitorium podcast. We're loyal listeners, okay?
Oh, you're saying
Heard what you
now?
said.
Yeah, they
You totally
they
got
want all the
years
back
ago,
pay
almost.
from when you were there.
They don't know how long I was there. I was there for a week. I was there for 2 to 3 days a month over the course. God damn it!
Welcome to Yawncast, where you get Chris yawning for 3 hours straight.
Dude, nice.
I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Probably because I didn't get 8 hours of sleep. But
This is why I'm here.
For the yawns. It's
yeah,
my
just
bread
to
and
make
butter.
Up, just to make up for my
That's how I sleep at night.
yawning.
No, just imagining you yawning.
Yeah,
Oh.
you yawning. That's how
It's
I
like
sleep.
counting sheep to him.
Oh, Chris yawning.
Yeah, it's like a big
Kinda
old
weird.
grizzly bear yawn.
That'd be like a whole just like ASMR channel of you just yawning in different ways into a microphone.
Man, I should have done that back when you lived down here. I should have broken into your apartment and just like wait until you were sleeping. I was like, this is yawning with Chris. I was just holding the mic up to your mouth, and you just hear.
That's not yawning. That's snoring. That's two different things.
You get some random yawns here and
so
there.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like,
He's admitting now that he's a bad editor, so that he's not gonna bother to cut out all the snoring. You're gonna have to listen through it just to get to the yawns.
No, that's part of it. They
Yeah.
want to hear my loud fucking demon snore.
They want that whole experience of being in the intensive care unit of a hospital.
For real.
Chris, it'd be like antics like Bam Margera and Phil.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
Okay, here I go again.
Dude, you
Man.
gotta stop, alright? It's getting rather annoying now.
Listen, shut the
You're-
fuck
you're-
up.
And you can
Try
tell
my
like how
patience, sir.
non-empathetic either of us are because nobody else is yawning. It's like,
Yeah, what the hell's your problem, Chris? What you do? What the do?
I don't know. I was raging about this yesterday too because I kept yawning for no reason.
Maybe it's because you're raging, Chris. Maybe you should find your peace.
What?
What? What?
What?
What?
What? Ah.
Hey.
Ryan, have you ever heard me snore? Ryan? Alright, he's dead. I know you've heard me.
Oh yeah. I mean, thankfully, I wasn't planning on getting any sleep that weekend anyway.
I know Bucks heard me, so I'm still here.
No, he actually just left.
Rip.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. Did you hear what I said, or?
No, I didn't. What'd you say? Repeat yourself.
I said, have you heard me snore?
I think once. I slept next to you before, so.
Okay,
Wow.
you guys keep up conversation. I'm gonna go yell at this dog real quick.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, go eat it. Go eat its ass.
Why? Why would you say that on the podcast, dude? That's so unprofessional.
Listen.
Eating dogs' asses.
This is a vomit. This is a vomitorium, alright?
Yeah, you gonna take it literally.
Mm-hmm. When you slept next to me? When did you sleep next to me?
I saw it was. You don't remember?
Oh man, you're hurting. You're breaking his heart,
a
man.
couple times.
When?
Hey, yeah, dude. You called it next to me. You squeezed it. You're like, Ryan, you're my special boy. You're my number one. Ryan, me and you, we're gonna go places, Ryan. Then you rolled over and you went to sleep, and I was like, okay.
That's never happened.
No, I don't know, man. I believe it. It sounds like you.
Yeah, to Matt, because he's my husband. But
I was like, shit, this is a weird summer party, Chris. I'll fucking do this guy.
Maybe
there's so
you're
many times.
maybe you were just so drunk at the time that you thought it was Matt in bed with you.
No, he was
Never-
dead sober.
Oh, okay.
Nope. I don't get drunk where I think stuff like that. But no, because there's so many times where you've been like shit faced or like you've been like really tired, and I'm like, dude, just
No, we
sleep
were-
over. And
we were both,
you're just like, no. You're like, I'm not sleeping over. I'm gonna drive home drunk.
I did, and I made it home drunk every time.
I was like, dude, just sleep over. It's not a big deal. Sebi, on the other hand, that motherfucker came over with intent to sleep over. Motherfucker would go in my bed and be like, alright, I'm going. I'm like, no, get out of my goddamn bed, Sebi. God.
Guys, looking for girls night, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's like only
In my
7
bed.
o'clock too. It's not even late. It's not like he stayed too long. It's just 7 o'clock and he's already going to sleep in your bed.
Dude, he would pass out in my bed. Like, I'm just like, oh my god.
It's like he shows up to your house and you're like, okay, let's have a good day. And by the time you turn around, he's already in pajamas. Like he was wearing them under his clothes the whole time with the intent
Hey,
of
Chris,
sleeping
can
in
you
your
warm
bed.
me a nice cup of milk, please? He's like, no, Sebi, get out.
So he goes, okay, I've got my
Tell me
own. And he
about
just like
that,
reaches
bro.
into his pocket and there's like a baby's bottle that's already warm because he's been sitting there the whole time.
That's what shit gets weird.
With a cinnamon stick inside.
Yeah.
He just shakes it up. Just shakes it up, fucking.
He has a binky and everything.
Like, you know what'd be good with some this milk? Some cookies. He's like, I'm not getting you cookies. He's like, oh, I got that too. And he pulls out the other pocket.
You're not eating cookies in my bed.
But look, they have so much crumbs, Chris.
Oh wow! Look what else I have. I also have this Nature Valley bar. No.
Hey, Chris, can you read the chapter of Matthew to me, please?
He actually would bring those fucking bars over though. Those were like one of the few. He would always have like snacks in his bag.
That,
So
that,
this is like partially true what you guys are saying, but
that, that would be his new bedtime story, though. It'd be like, hey, can you read the entire book of Proverbs to me before I go to sleep?
I just want to hear Genesis one more time, please. Come on,
Really?
Chris, please.
No, even
I
worse.
really
You
like
really
the
want to
game.
put somebody to sleep? It's like, could you read to me Numbers? Because it's literally just lineage. Like, it's just saying, like, blank son of blank son of blank son of blank. And there's, like, a whole book just about, like, the census of the Hebrew people.
I'm gonna write a rap song about that.
Yeah, it's like, he wants to go to sleep, so instead of counting sheep, it's like, can you just read me the book of Numbers?
Hey, Chris, it's getting kind of cold in here. Can you start a fire by burning some books by J.R. Tolkien and Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe, please? It's really cold.
Can you burn your D&D Devil book?
Yeah, you'd think he'd
Also,
actually
Smurfs
would
are-
like C.S. Lewis because the stuff that C.S. Lewis wrote.
Also, Smurfs are the devil. Good night.
Smurfs.
Smurfs are the devil.
I based that off of my grandma. Okay, my grandma, she's real big into like, she's a real big Christian, and she really believes that Smurfs are evil as fuck.
But
Yeah,
if the
she
Smurfs
didn't
were the
allow
evil
it.
ones, why would the evil wizard be trying to kill him?
I don't know, but she was
Maybe he's
like,
good.
yeah, I will not allow it in my house because those things are evil. They should not be blue.
They should not be blue.
Or some shit like that. I don't know, but she really didn't like them because she's thought they were devils.
No, I'm the Mega Man guy. Chris is Mega Man. That's a real fucked up. Does she hate the Blue Man Group too?
I don't know. Maybe
Should not be
so.
blue.
I guess she's not a big fan of cops either.
Yeah, a lot of people are a big fan of cops nowadays.
Yeah, it's a very
but-
popular statement to make.
Yeah, just keeping up with the times at this point. But
I like my neighbors. They're nice, but I don't like them blue people.
I don't like
Like
them
Nana,
blues.
Nana, what are you saying? Nana, come on.
You
They're only
can't say
Smurfs,
that
dude.
shit.
Yeah, they moved in yesterday. They're just like on our lawn. I don't know. I don't like their white hats, and little shorts. Well, Nana, come on, dude. Chill.
I don't like them goddamn blues.
With their little
Oh my God.
white pants that are also their shoes. Like, who wears
Why-
just one
why-
outfit like that? There's no parts.
Why are they wearing hats?
Yeah.
Why are they wearing hats? Why they gotta hide? Nana, come on. Come on.
Especially that little Smurfette, that tramp.
Oh, man.
That fucking harlot.
I bet she tries to talk to you every time. What, Nana? Come on, no.
I'm not even interested in somebody that small. What can she do for me?
Yeah, what's she gonna do for me? I'm gonna
She can do
literally
something,
tear
but
her apart.
not what you thinking.
Yeah.
Leave the Smurfs alone. They're just trying to live. They gotta fucking fight ants all the time.
Yeah, oh yeah, man. Like whole colonies of them. All
man,
out
there's
war.
no way Smurfs can survive that. There's no fucking way.
It depends on the ant. Like those
Not
those
in the-
jungle
not in the
ants,
South,
done.
At least.
Yeah.
If it's fire ants, they're fucked.
If they're
They
like
can maybe
Goliath
survive.
ants, then they're also fucked.
Well, they do have
They get-
magic. Like Papa Smurf, he can make potions and stuff like that. They can make bombs out of potions.
Potion bombs.
Yeah, just bomb a whole 1,000 ants here and there.
Yeah, but there's millions.
Yeah.
And fire ants are
Vicious.
angry all the time. They just bite you for no fucking reason.
It's their default state is just anger. They know nothing else.
They don't know. They know.
They're,
They know
they're the
their hive mind,
Kratos of
and that's it.
ants.
Just
Good Kratos of ants.
you touched a grain of sand, and he just engulfed. Yeah, no, I don't think Smurfs can survive in the South.
Yeah, I mean,
Then
I
they
don't know,
gotta deal
man.
with winter.
Well, they also knew how to use tools, right? Like they
Yeah,
had
but-
freaking handy Smurf and stuff like that.
How many? Yeah, they're like almost all retarded.
Yeah,
How many-
almost all of them are. I feel
Well,
like
I mean,
Brainy
all of them
Smurf
could
would
be
be the
like-
first one to get devoured by ants.
Oh, that would suck. Then they're really fucked. I mean,
Well, like he knew trivia, but he was kind of actually like the dumbest person in the whole fucking village when you look at it. Like
He had no. He was smart, but he had no street smarts.
well, 'cause he wasn't actually intelligent, right? He had knowledge, but he wouldn't
Yeah,
know how to
he had
use
knowledge, but he wasn't like. Yeah, I mean, how many Smurfs are in like the Smurf village? Like less than 100.
it. Yeah, like you know, there's a
There's
big
no
amount. There's
way.
more Smurfs than actually had names to it because you see a bunch of background Smurfs all the time. But they're at the biggest might be 100. It's probably usually
I don't
closer
know,
to 50.
ever since the Smurf slash Snork war, their numbers have dwindled.
Snork war,
Dude.
the Snork.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
even? Okay, here's the thing. How would the Smurfs even fight the Snorks, right?
Oh,
Right?
Dude, they're fucked.
Because the Snorks seem to be fine on land. There's like a couple times where they leave the water. But like they could fight the Smurfs on their territory for a little while. But what could the Smurfs even do to fight the Snorks on theirs?
God, I would love to see like a little small show about like the Snork Smurf war, where it's like really really in depth. That everything's all like intricate and shit.
Yeah.
Oh
Smurf
my god,
Empire.
that'd be funny. Yeah.
Emperor Papa Smurf.
No, that reminds me of like what was it, Family Guy, where they had the Rice Krispies dudes fighting the Keebler elves.
Oh
There's
yeah.
like a whole war between. They got pop, man. They got pop. It's just like two of them are left drinking at the friggin' bar later on.
Oh my god, dude. The Smurfs are 7.5 inches, so it's like what, the size of this water bottle, maybe.
Wait, they were
higher.
that big? They didn't even look like they were that big. How big is fucking Gargamel?
According to this, they are. Okay, physically, a Smurf is usually no more than 3 apples tall.
Yeah.
That is official. In
3
human
apples
measure,
tall.
probably around 3 inches. Wait.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Okay,
is
so
about
3 inches. 3 apples. What fucking apples?
Yeah, that doesn't work. An apple is not like an inch. I think. Oh no. They're saying the apple is 3 inches, right?
Oh,
So that
yeah.
would they're having 3 of them. I guess 7.5, whatever, right? They're no bigger than 3 apples tall, so they won't be 9.
Okay. So it says the 2011 movie records them as being 7.5 inches. Have a
Yeah.
pear-shaped body with an oval-shaped head, springy legs, and limber arms with a short, stubby tail sticking out from his or her buttocks.
But like they don't even seem that big though, compared to like Gargamel.
Yeah, they seem really, really small.
Yeah, how
big is
I would have
I'm
to say
looking.
that
How
the
big is
adults are
Gargamel?
3 to 4 inches tall. This post from 2005 says they're
Yeah.
3 to 4 inches tall.
Hey,
Let me see.
I'm gonna go to
Smurfs.
freaking Gargamel on the wiki and see if they have his height on here.
That's a good way to. Well, they're kind of big if you compare to him.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes sense when you look at comparison.
like I know he's like held them in his hand.
Am I in a fucking Smurf forum?
Are you on a? There's a Smurf forum. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. There's a forum for like
It's called-
literally everything.
It's called BlueBuddies.com.
BlueBuddies.com.
Holy shit! Yeah, here I posted a really low quality picture of like size comparison. Okay, so yeah, I mean it kind of makes sense at 7.5 inches. I would say definitely, if not bigger.
Hey, I'm gonna pull this up for people watching. Yeah.
Fraggles? How big are? 22 inches. Fraggles are 22 inches, so they're smaller.
Yeah. So okay, so they're almost up to his knee. He's kind of bent.
Yeah, I would say it's
But see, now that puts in the opposite one. That how short is Gargamel? If they're almost
Yeah.
up to his knee, right? I know. I
does
guess
look
I
like a
haven't
short
watched
guy.
the Smurfs in so long that in my head I'm thinking of them only being up to his shoe.
It's
Right?
like it's like this show. This show is like based on the future. It's like you see me losing my hair. It's like damn. I can't really go for something blue right now.
You just have like this
You're like,
irrational
you're like,
prejudice
Ryan,
of
what
the
the fuck are you talking
Smurfs
about?
that you inherited
Yeah.
from like your grandma.
Yeah, it's just me in the future, and I'm just dealing with this shit.
Yeah,
Everybody
like
turn to Smurfs.
even looking at Azrael, right? I'm in my head, this cat towered over the Smurfs, but clearly that wasn't the case.
yeah, because I mean, I guess the cat's like big enough from the right on, which I think they did do a few times, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been a long fucking time since I've seen the Smurfs. But
And like I didn't remember Gargamel being like especially tall because I remember seeing other people in the world that were bigger than him. Right? Like a noble guy will walk up or whatever and like this knight dude is bigger than Gargamel. It's like, okay, well Gargamel's probably like your average size old hermit.
yeah,
Have you ever
Which-
considered watching the Smurf movies?
Nope.
No.
No.
Here's the problem with the Smurf
Not-
movies. I've seen them though, but I've never considered watching them. They were just on TV.
Seen them?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they were on TV, and I was doing homework.
It's a big yikes for me.
Yeah.
Not the cartoon ones, like the
Live action ones.
the CGI ones, like the
Yeah.
newer one.
Because I would
I
watch.
think that's what he's talking about.
No,
Not
I
the
was talking
Smurf
about the new
movie,
one.
Like,
I was talking about with Neil
Oh.
Patrick Harris.
Yikes.
Yeah. No, they're awful.
That's
the problem
that's
is
like comparable to Garfield and shit.
like let's talk about the first Smurf movie, right? There's like this like 20 to 30 minute opening where they're or not 30, but it's like 20 minutes, right? Where they're actually in the Smurf village before they end up in the like Big Apple. Oh man, could you imagine a Smurf that's like 3 Big Apples big?
3 Big Apples.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the. Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. I was gonna say something, but it's not very.
Smurfette being
That's-
3 Big Apples big.
Oh my god. Snoo to all the other
Yeah.
Smurfs.
But but the beginning part actually seems like a bit from the Smurfs cartoon. It's fine. Like it would have if the whole movie was just that, it would have been a good movie.
It's usually how bad plots go.
Yeah, like they start
Yeah,
out really
You
good.
take it from there and say, "Oh, let's dump him in the city."
Yeah.
Oh, let's put him in Egypt.
And freaking Neil
it's
Patrick
like
Harris needs to be
Transformers.
here.
Or that guy from Sonic the Hedgehog movie who's always in mediocre stuff all the time.
Yeah, I don't even know that dude's name.
He's gonna be the new Paul Rudd.
He is the new Paul Rudd. He's just like the most average looking guy who's just in a bunch of mediocre shit.
He was like that one guy in the '90s.
He was
in the 90s
Cyclops.
that was in
the X-Men.
Was he in Scary Movie? Scary Movie.
Which scary
He
movie?
was. The first. I don't. I looked up Scary Movie. I don't know why I expected it to fucking pop up. 2000. What's that? Hold on. I gotta see. It was this early like 2000s actor that was in like every fucking like every movie at the time.
Every movie at the time.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
No. I don't think he's in Scary Movie,
Oh,
but he
okay.
like portrays one of the characters that is in Scary Movie. I'd have
Or
to,
like the one of the scary movie people portray something that he played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like what it was. He was in the. Oh, I think he was in Freddy vs. Jason.
I do not want to remember anything about that movie.
God, me neither.
It wasn't that bad.
It was
It
pretty
was
bad.
bad. It was fucking bad.
Like the thing is, the movie is canonically consistent with both series up to that point. It's just people forget how awful both series up to that point had become.
Yeah, no, yeah. I still considered Friday the 13th a good guilty pleasure because it's still campy fun, you know.
Yeah.
Like fucking when he goes to New York, that shit was fucking goofy. Like he was just walking, like there was these kids just hanging around, chilling next to a jukebox or a fucking boombox and shit. He just walks over, and kicks the shit out of it, just keeps walking. He doesn't even kill them. He just walks.
Yeah,
It's like,
it becomes, that's how those movies become, dude. It gets to a point where they become funny. They're no
Yeah.
longer are they like scary movies.
It's just like, where else are you gonna
Yeah,
take them,
he-
right? Like,
no, exactly.
you can't subvert expectations continuously in a horror way because I've seen everything by this point, right? So
Exactly.
either your villain
Yeah.
becomes cartoonishly bad, like in Scream, or they become cartoonishly good or overpowered to where like it's funny no matter which direction you take it.
Oh, his name is Lachlan Monroe. See, I had no idea. I had
Lachlan Monroe. That actually is like an interesting name, but you would never know this guy.
How the fuck do you spell?
Oh no! If you look him up, you're like, oh, I know this guy.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, he was in Scary Movie.
Lyn. Munro. Oh, he was in Scary Movie. I thought so.
He's in White Chicks,
Like I said, he was in a lot of early.
Night at the Roxbury. He was in
That's good.
Charmed. He did a lot of shit.
Yeah, he was very definitely like a person who was very recognized in the late '90s, early 2000s.
Holy
But,
shit!
Yeah, he's got like that very
Oh
you
my
know the
God.
face, but you would never know this guy.
Yeah, like, I had no idea that was his fucking name. No idea. I thought it was like something more like
Generic.
not that.
It's always fascinating. It's always fascinating to look up actors that were just like they only existed in a certain time period. Like you don't really hear about them in like 2020 at all.
He actually is in Riverdale.
Yeah, yeah,
which is
he's actually
really
active now.
popular.
Really?
But
Yeah, he's been in stuff not that long ago. Other than that, too.
nothing big though. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Like
No.
if you go to his IMDb, it's all like early.
Like this one shot in a TV show or this small movie that nobody heard of.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm still waiting for Be Fresh to rise and shine. I'm still
He was in
waiting
the
for
original
Rise
21
Up.
Jump Street
Yeah.
series.
Oh, that series.
You
Never
think
seen it.
Brendan Fraser will make a comeback?
He already has. He's in the thing right now.
You think? Yeah, I know, but you think he'll be like big, like later on?
I would
Or you
hope
think
so.
he'll just
I think
keep
he's probably
steady?
past his
Prime.
hype, but no, I don't think he's past his prime as an actor. Like
I-
I think his ability to act has only gotten better, but I think he's past his height. You know, like
You think he's gonna be one of those actors that are really good as an old man?
yeah,
I
but
think-
he'll
I think he
be
has that shot.
underserviced by the stuff. he's
I think he has that momentum going for him, you know.
because he had a
'cause
lot
you've
of
seen him
momentum
back-
back in the '90s and early 2000s.
And it just immediately stopped because you know that fucking what was it called, that marriage thing? Fuck, I can't think.
Divorce.
Alimony.
Yeah.
Yeah, the alimony.
Alimony
Fuck,
screwed him over. Yeah.
dude.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
and
it
he
was
just
bad.
the
But
reason
then-
he's even back now too is because it just stopped this last year.
Yeah, it ended.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah.
And you can even see like the smile on his face is the first time in years that you see a picture of him like genuinely
Yes.
smiling. I'm glad for the guy that it's finally over. I like Brendan
Me
Fraser.
too, cause yeah, I love Brendan Fraser. He was a charming guy. Encino Man, even George of the
Yeah.
Jungle was dumb fuck.
I actually
Both of the
I
Mummy
actually
movies,
really
thank
like
God they
those
never made a
George
third
of the
one.
Jungle.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Monkey Bone. I love Monkey Bone. That's such a good movie.
Oh, he was good. I mean, Bedazzled was pretty
Bedazzled,
interesting
yeah.
as well. Oh,
For a remake?
Blast from the Past.
But that's also when like remakes weren't absolute shit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
Mhm.
In fact, I like his more than the original Bedazzled. And the original's a good movie.
Yeah, I just hope because I heard that what was
He
it?
springs
Doom
back.
Patrol.
Yeah,
that
but
DC
Doom
show?
Patrol, he's the robot.
I heard it was pretty good, that show.
Yeah, a lot of
They're
people like
coming
it.
out
I haven't
with
seen
another
it.
season. Yeah, me neither.
I've
Well, I heard it
seen
was really good.
maybe a collective of 15 minutes of that show. And I did not like what I saw, but it could also be that I just saw really boring parts.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's always a problem with like beginning series. Sometimes it takes like a couple episodes. You know what show doesn't have that problem? At least in my opinion. Breaking Bad.
Oh, you see, actually, there was parts of it that I liked, but on the whole, I just did not care for Breaking Bad. It was a chore.
Really?
Yeah, it was a chore for me to get through it.
Interesting.
I love the Breaking Bad, but yeah, like the beginning of it's slow.
It's slow,
Yeah.
but I mean like
It took a
does
while to
good
ramp
job
up,
of-
and then at like around season 5, it just got to a point that I completely lost interest in it. It was like this good sandwich with like this weird crummy bread on the outside.
That's a weird way to put it. I can see your point from it. I don't know. For me, the ball just kept on rolling. And
Yeah,
Gus
that's
did
me.
feel like, yeah, and Gus did. Sometimes he felt like he was like a little bit pushing it for, but in all, he was sort of fine. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody.
A lot of
If anybody
people
hasn't
actually
watched it yet.
think.
I
that
think it's
Better
been
Call
spoiled
Saul-
for everybody at this. I like Better
Yeah.
Call Saul. Like I enjoyed
Yeah,
that
a lot
more.
of people think. A lot of people think Better Call Saul is better. Than Bad.
See, Better Call Saul has the same problem of a slow start, but later on it does.
But it has the benefit of Breaking Bad already establishing the show. So
Yeah.
people are more likely to stick through the slow start. If you were to just
Yeah,
watch
'cause-
it
yeah, that's the
first, then you'd probably have I'd probably have similar complaints about the start.
Yeah, true. Because like, you kind of like need the slow start in that because it's because of what it is. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a prequel. So, you know, it's kind of showing how everything started, and I think it works really well. I actually really like that show. I also really like what's his name? The guy who plays Saul.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's from that one show.
I've seen him in a lot.
I know
of
he did a
things.
lot of things with Tim and Eric, which is like,
You
No,
know,
that's where you would have known him first because you watched the shit out of that. That's
You know Tobias
Bob
from,
Odenkirk.
yeah,
You know
Bob-
Tobias. You know Tobias from Arrested Development.
Yeah.
He did a show with him a while back. It was called.
Yeah, he was the Bob in Bob and David because Tobias was David Cross.
Yeah,
The
Mr.
Mr.
Show,
Show
yeah,
with Bob
Mr.
and David,
Show.
and they had another one recently too that was just Bob and Dave. It was like a few years back.
yeah, because they're like with that whole group of like comedians.
Yeah, I've always liked Bob Odenkirk. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Whenever he pops up in like something I'm watching, I'm like, oh, what a
Yeah, I'm like, oh, dope.
Like he was in Arrested
I-
Development because of David Cross. He showed up in Tenacious
Yeah.
D quite often.
He's in a lot of things. There was something I watched recently that he showed up in, and I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Name what are other actors that when they show up on screen that you're like, oh fuck yeah, like what gets you excited?
Man,
I don't know, man. There's
For
a
me,
lot of
it's
people.
like
yeah, that's
for
a
me, it's
lot.
like John Turturro. John Turturro, if he shows up, it's like, oh shit. Maybe not in a Transformers film. I don't know about those, but in other films, oh hell, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I like him. Man, let's see. I'm trying to see what I watched. To see. Oh, you know what?
I mean, John Turturro is definitely up there. Because I loved Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think who else. It
Yeah, I
just
love
gets
that
me.
movie. That song ever just pops in my head every now and then.
Oh, Man of Constant Sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good song. I'm trying to think. Because there's quite a few of them.
I'm trying to look at like the movies I've watched on Netflix recently. That because I know there was one where I saw him and I'm just like, I was not expecting him at all.
There's certain actors, like, when you're younger, you don't notice it. But then as you get older, you're like, man, I've seen this guy in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I've literally been everywhere. But I'll also say this needs to be our closing point because it is 5:10.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes past time. There was something I was gonna say to close out with, but I completely forgot. So,
Wash your balls. Always wash your balls. That's my advice.
that's a good
Well,
closing.
that's pretty
statement, I
good.
would
Yeah,
say.
that's pretty good advice.
Yeah, you should always wash your balls.
Even if you wash them already, wash them again. You still smell.
You just get a brush. Just a brush that's dedicated straight for washing your balls.
Yeah, scrubber brush.
Yeah,
one of those hard bristled ones.
Like you used for cleaning the
Can make
toilet.
it feel. Yeah.
With the hole
Or
in the middle. So you can actually
toilet
like
brush would still work.
no, yeah, like a toilet brush, right? With the hole in the middle. So it's kind of like when you go clean like the golf balls in the golf machine. You pop it up and down. You got to get your balls through the hole.
Yeah, just one ball each, dude.
It just real quick.
Stop
Great.
with those in your bathroom, those golf ball cleaners.
Oh, yeah.
Just wash your balls with.
And I don't think you have the elasticity for that.
Well, if you do it enough. Dang, man. Get your old man balls early, dude.
All right, Tommy, end it. Start the.
Okay, I'm also gonna say Jeff Bridges would be my answer anytime he shows up in something.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
okay, that's
But yeah, so this has been the Vomitorium. I've been your host, The Metal. Joining me, it was, as always, Chris, and this time, Ryan.
Ryan.
And we actually, different, Christian was on earlier too, so had a couple different people. It was a really good time, and catch us on the next episode, hopefully on schedule this time, Saturday. We'll see you later.
Deuces.